Chapter 47:20. The members of Heaven Destroyer understood that the war this time was far from over. The Heavenly Palace was able to mobilize 150 origins. Clearly, they had mobilized all the origins guarding the Dark Universe. Although they did not know what had happened in the Dark Universe, it was definitely not good news for Heaven Destroyer. Since the Heavenly Palace could mobilize all the origins guarding the Dark Universe, could they mobilize all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe? The last time they entered the world of light, the Heavenly Palace could mobilize many more Divine Masters than Heaven Destroyer. The number reached a shocking 8,000. If all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe were mobilized, the number would be 3 times more than Heaven Destroyer's Divine Masters. Moreover, Heaven Destroyer did not have any advantage in a one-on-one battle between Divine Masters. They might even be inferior. Under the origins, the Celestial Clan's talent was truly astonishing. However, overall, the unforeseen event this time was still beneficial to Heaven Destroyer. Originally, they would not be able to last for 2 days. Now, the crisis was temporarily resolved. Another thing was that Heaven Destroyer's encampment was filled with formations. Although these formations could not stop origins, they were very effective against Divine Masters. Even if the Heavenly Palace's Divine Masters wanted to break through, they would not be able to do so in a short period of time. Even if all the Divine Masters of the Heavenly Palace were mobilized, they would probably be able to hold on for thousands of years. After thousands of years, they might be able to turn the tables. As everyone waited nervously, 3 months passed. 3 months later, roars could be heard from the distant void. There was also the sound of war chariots crushing the void. In the distance, war chariots appeared before everyone's eyes. Hundreds of Heavenly Palace experts stood on each war chariot. They were all Divine Masters. There were dozens of war chariots in total. They were lined up in a row. So many Divine Masters. The members of Heaven Destroyer turned pale when they saw this. On the dozens of war chariots, there were more than 16,000 Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace in total. More than 16,000 Divine Masters. This number was just too shocking. Without a doubt, the Heavenly Palace must have mobilized all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe. What had happened in the Dark Universe? Why did the Heavenly Palace not need to guard it? No one could figure it out. On the war chariot in the middle stood Yi Immortal, Yi Qiuxian, and the 4 most powerful Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. Even if there is an unforeseen event, you traitors, you will not escape the fate of annihilation. The Divine Master's Immortal's cold voice. He did not know that the great calamity of Source was triggered by Tang Feng in advance. He only thought that some unforeseen event had occurred. The arrival of the origin tribulation in advance is enough to prove that we are recognized by the universe, which is why we received help. Your Heavenly Palace is destined to be destroyed in the future. A Divine Master from Heaven Destroyer sneered. Is that so? Do you think you can stop us with this formation alone? Without the control of the origin, the power of this formation is reduced by more than 10 times. The Divine Master of Yi Immortal said calmly. Then he waved his hand. Swoosh, swoosh. The 16,000 Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace moved. They flew out, gathered together, and suddenly attacked. The 16,000 Divine Masters attacked together. Although they were not as powerful as the 150 origin experts, they were still powerful. 16,000 attacks blasted toward the Heaven Destroyer. Boom, boom. A series of explosions rang out as more than 16,000 attacks landed on the formation, causing ripples to appear on its surface. However, it was firmly blocked by the formation. The members of the Sky Exterminating Troop looked delighted. The Heaven Destroyer's formation was still very stable. Although without the control of the origin experts, its power had weakened a lot, but that was only for the origin experts. It was still very stable for the Divine Masters. Even if they did not control it, the Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace could not be defeated in a short time. Continue, the Divine Master of Yi Immortal ordered. The Heavenly Palace's origin experts continued to attack. More than 10 waves of attacks were launched in a row, but they did not affect the formation of the Heaven Exterminating Troop much. Retreat. At this moment, the Divine Master of Yi Immortal suddenly ordered. The 16,000 Divine Masters stopped attacking and took a few steps back. They did not attack anymore. Could it be that they know they can't break it and are not attacking anymore? Some of the members of Heaven Destroyer were overjoyed. It's not that simple. They were probably probing. The formation's energy is limited. Although they can't break it in a short time, they will definitely break it after a long time. I estimate that the formation can only last for 1,000 years. Even if we control the formation, it can only last for a few hundred years. A peak-level Divine Master expert said. It can only last for 1,000 years? The expressions of the others were very ugly. 1,000 years was just a blink of an eye for them. It was over in the blink of an eye. What could have happened in just over 1,000 years? When the formation was broken, the Heaven Destroyer would probably be destroyed in the face of 3 times the number of enemies. Although the eruption of the Origin Tribulation had bought them more than 1,000 years, what could they do in 1,000 years? Cheer up. No matter what, we've gained more than 1,000 years. Maybe there will be a turn for the better in 1,000 years. What we need to do now is to defend the base and buy as much time as we can. Do you understand? A loud roar spread throughout the base and shook everyone's hearts. It was Lion who had spoken. Many people trembled and came to their senses. Yes, no matter what the future held, the most important thing was to defend the base first. Let's control the formation and replenish its energy. Let's go. Many figures flashed and appeared at the base of the formation and began to replenish the formation's energy. The Heaven Destroyer had around 5,000 Divine Masters in total. 5,000 Divine Masters had entered the World of Rings, but more than 1,000 had died, leaving only 4,000. However, the Divine Masters who had entered the World of Rings were not all the Divine Masters of the Heaven Destroyer. At that time, some Divine Masters had been delayed by other matters. This time, it was a matter of life and death, so all the Divine Masters had been summoned. As a result, there were only around 5,000 left. The experts of the Heavenly Palace did not stop for too long. Soon, they continued to attack. This time, only around 8,000 Divine Masters attacked. The other half stayed behind to rest. Clearly, the Heavenly Palace wanted to use the same tactic as the Origin Tribulation, taking turns to attack the Heaven Destroyer's formation to deplete the energy of the formation. They took turns to attack, but they did not give the Heaven Destroyer a chance to replenish its energy. A loud roar that shook the void rang out. More than 8,000 people began to attack. Energy rampaged, attacking the formation and causing ripples. About half a day later, the 8,000 people at the front became tired and retreated. The other 8,000 people continued to attack. Chapter 47:21. More than 16,000 Divine Lords took turns attacking the Heavenly Palace, and several months passed in the blink of an eye. The Heaven Destroyer's formation showed no signs of being breached. It was still very stable. Lu Ming finally relaxed. It seemed that the Heaven Destroyer's formation could last for 1,000 years without any problems. Lu Ming found a place to cultivate in seclusion. Before Fei Huang had sealed herself, she had given him nearly 200 million desolate crystals. His top priority was to increase his cultivation. Sealing himself at reciprocity was an opportunity for him. If he could make continuous breakthroughs and reach peak Divine Lord. No, as long as he reached the 9th level of the Divine Lord realm, he would be virtually invincible under reciprocity. Of course, this was with the exception of freakish geniuses like Yi Immortal and Yi Qiuxian. In an era where reciprocity couldn't be produced, the stronger he was, the more he could seize the initiative. With a wave of his hand, a large number of desolate crystals appeared, and he began to absorb their energy. Tang Jun also went into seclusion. Before Fei Huang had sealed herself, she had given Tang Jun many resources to help her break through. Lu Ming refined the primordial crystals at a very fast speed. Piles of primordial crystals were refined by Lu Ming, turning into pure energy that entered his body and eventually turned into taboo energy. Lu Ming's cultivation rapidly increased. However, breaking through wasn't so easy. Lu Ming was currently at the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm. If he wanted to break through to the 7th level, he would need an astonishing 50 to 60 million desolate crystals. With so many great desolate crystals, even refining them would take quite a bit of time. Although Lu Ming's current speed of refining the primordial crystals was astonishing, it still took him a few months to refine 60 million pieces of primordial crystals. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm, and the forbidden energy in his body was extremely dense. Boom! Lu Ming's cultivation broke through, breaking through the bottleneck and reaching a new level. 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. After attaining the 7th level Divine Master realm, the taboo physique in Lu Ming's body had increased tremendously. Lu Ming circulated his forbidden power, and the tens of thousands of cells in his body were filled with a dazzling radiance. Then a door appeared, and inside the door was a yellow mud road. At this moment, the yellow dirt road extended a lot further, leading straight into the pitch-black depths. I'm already a 7th-tier godly master. Once I reach the 9th-tier godly master realm, the yellow mud road should be able to connect to Universe Ocean. Lu Ming smiled. Reaching the 7th level of the Divine Master realm had given him a lot of confidence. Now, he was confident enough to face off against an ordinary peak Divine Master. He was also confident that he could defeat his opponent. If he used all his cards, it would be normal for him to kill his opponent. Lu Ming was already confident in dealing with ordinary peak-level Divine Masters, except for those extremely abnormal peak-level Divine Masters. There are still nearly 140 million desolate crystals left. Let's refine them all. Lu Ming continued to refine the desolate crystals. Time flew by and a year went by. In a year, Lu Ming had refined all the desolate crystals in his possession. His cultivation had made great progress. Of course, he was still far from breaking through to level 8 God Lord. Based on his previous experience, he would need at least 500 to 600 million desolate crystals if he wanted to break through from level 7 God Lord to level 8 God Lord. 140 million desolate crystals was still far from enough. Over the past year, the people of the Heavenly Palace had been constantly attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base, taking turns to attack without stopping. It was obvious that the Heavenly Palace had made up their minds. They would not stop until they had broken through the Heaven Destroyer's base. Lu Ming came out of seclusion and planned to walk around and relax before going back into seclusion to cultivate. He did not need to participate in maintaining the array. The people of the Heaven Destroyer had high hopes for him. His goal was to cultivate and increase his cultivation. Because the potential of others was limited, they would not improve much in just 1,000 years. But peerless geniuses like Lu Ming were different. They had endless potential. If they could improve, it would be the greatest wealth for the Heaven Destroyer. Look, what's that? Suddenly, someone shouted in shock. Lu Ming could not help but look outside the base. Kaboom! Outside the base, behind the experts of the Heavenly Palace, a violent roar came, accompanied by the roar of beasts. Then, demonic chi surged, covering the sky and earth. Demons! Demons! Many people shouted. Yes, there were demons in the demonic chi, and they were very powerful demons. All of them were demon lord demons. Each demon was filled with dense demonic chi. They were huge, and when they spread their wings, they covered the sky. There were about 6,000 to 7,000 of them. 6,000 to 7,000 demon lords equivalent to god lords. What surprised the people of the Heaven Destroyer the most was that these demons stopped not far away from the Heavenly Palace and did not attack the people of the Heavenly Palace. Attack! Break the base of the rebels. The Yi Immortal waved at the demons and gave the order. Kill! All the demons roared and rushed toward the base of the Heaven Destroyer crazily. Attacks after attacks were launched toward the base of the Heaven Destroyer. This time, all the people of the Heaven Destroyer were stunned. They could not believe it. How could this be? Why would the demons listen to the orders of the heavenly human race? What's going on? Don't the demons have a feud with the heavenly human race? They are natural enemies. Why would they help the heavenly human race? What happened in the dark universe? Countless people of the Heaven Destroyer shouted, full of doubts. The demons and the heavenly human race were mortal enemies. They had been killing each other for countless years. For countless years, both sides had suffered heavy casualties. There was no room for reconciliation. But now, the demons actually listened to the orders of the heavenly human race and attacked them. Moreover, the fact that the heavenly palace could summon the elites guarding the dark universe was right in front of them. They had to believe it. Many people's hearts sank, and their faces became more and more unsightly. Originally, it was difficult for them to deal with the heavenly palace alone. Even if they tried their best to control the array formation, they could only hold on for a few hundred years at most. Now that so many demons had joined, the time they could hold on would be greatly reduced. It would be good if they could hold on for 700 or 800 years. The situation was getting worse and worse for the Heaven Destroyer. Facing the demons and the elites of the heavenly palace, once the array formation was broken, they would die. It would be difficult for them to even escape. But there was no other way. They could only continue to control the array formation and hope for a miracle. After the 6,000 to 7,000 demon masters joined, the elites of the heavenly palace retreated. The heavenly palace, including the demons, had more than 22,000 people, close to 23,000. They were divided into two groups, with more than 11,000 people in each group. The attack was much more powerful, and the energy of the array formation in the Heaven Destroyer had also been consumed a lot. I'm far from being powerful enough. I have to continue to increase my power. If the array is really broken, I can only let a lot of people into the ancient desolate ring. Lu Ming thought. He had to protect his family and his friends. He had the ancient desolate ring, so many people could enter it. However, he also had to be able to protect the ancient desolate ring and fight his way out. He had to continue increasing his power. Chapter 47:22. Lu Ming continued his seclusion. However, without the ancient desolate ring, he was left with only a few hundred stalks of primary divine herbs, which could not help him break through. Thus, Lu Ming placed his focus on comprehending secret techniques and the battle character manual. The chances of activating the battle character manual's ninefold power were still not high. As his comprehension deepened, he would be able to use it more and more freely. Moreover, the more secret techniques he comprehended, the stronger his forbidden energy would be. Lu Ming entered the valley where he had comprehended secret techniques in the past and used the primordial divine voice to enter deep seclusion. Day by day, month by month, year by year passed. In the blink of an eye, 500 years had passed. In these years, Lu Ming had used the primordial divine stone to comprehend secret techniques at an increasingly fast pace. The last time Lu Ming had been in seclusion for 300 years, he had only comprehended 100-odd secret techniques that were similar to ancient secret techniques. In these 500 years, Lu Ming had comprehended a total of 400 secret techniques that were similar to ancient secret techniques. In addition to the previous 100, he now had a total of 500 secret techniques. These 500-odd secret techniques were about the same grade as ancient secret techniques. Each one of them was comparable to an ancient secret technique. With the addition of these 500-odd secret techniques, Lu Ming's forbidden energy was growing stronger and stronger, its might more and more astonishing. At the same level, Lu Ming's fighting strength was rapidly increasing. Now, at the same level, Lu Ming was confident that he could easily defeat an opponent like Yi Qiuxian. Of course, Lu Ming was still not confident that he could defeat an opponent like Yi Immortal. Little Ball has increased his cultivation by another level, reaching level 8 of the God Lord realm. Unfortunately, I lack materials, or else Little Ball would have improved even faster. Lu Ming muttered to himself. In these years, Little Ball had lacked a damaged source-level divine weapon, so he had only eaten some metallic materials and refined the remaining energy in his body, allowing him to reach level 8 of the God Lord realm. At level 8 of the God Lord realm, if he wanted to increase his cultivation further, he would have to eat a new damaged source-level divine weapon or even a new one, or else it would be very difficult to increase his cultivation level. Little Ball had refined all the materials he had eaten in the past. It's been 500 years. I wonder how the array outside is doing? Lu Ming was a little worried. According to their previous estimations, the Heaven Destroyer could hold out for another 200 to 300 years at most. Lu Ming left the canyon and soared into the sky to look outside. The heavenly human tribe and abyss devils were still attacking. However, after 500 years, the light of the Heaven Destroyer Station's array formation had dimmed greatly. Every time it was attacked, it would shake violently and cause ripples. From the looks of it, he really couldn't hold on for another 300 years. Everyone in Heaven Destroyer had anxious and nervous expressions on their faces. Layers of crisis were pressing down on them, making it hard for them to breathe. This is bad. Lu Ming sighed softly. If this continued, it would be really bad. Could it be that Heaven Destroyer was going to be destroyed just like the forces that resisted the Heavenly Palace in the past? Lu Ming, you finally appeared. Suddenly, a loud roar came from outside the encampment. A loud roar came through the formation. Lu Ming looked over and discovered that the person who had shouted was Yi Qiuxian. What? You want to fight me one-on-one again? Sure, tell your people from the Heavenly Palace to retreat. I'll go out and fight you. Lu Ming said loudly. Ha, or who wants to fight you one-on-one? Don't use such a cheap delaying tactic. Yi Qiuxian sneered and said, Lu Ming, I just want to tell you a piece of news. Some of your rebels are still scattered outside or cultivating in some places. There's a woman called Xian Yanqing. I heard that she's your wife. Coincidentally, she was discovered by us not long ago. What? Upon hearing this, Lu Ming's heart trembled wildly. Xian Yanqing was discovered by the people from the Heavenly Palace? What about now? Lu Ming was a little anxious. However, he didn't show it on his face. He pretended to be calm and said, nonsense. Xiao Qing is in the Heaven Destroyer Station. How could she be discovered by you? Are you trying to trick me to go out and disturb my state of mind? Nonsense? That location is the boundless demon abyss. Our people will take her down soon. At that time, you'll see if I'm talking nonsense or not. Yi Qiuxian laughed. Lu Ming's heart sank. Back then, Fei Huang did send Xian Yanqing to the boundless demon abyss to cultivate. Yi Qiuxian even knew the exact location. Xian Yanqing was facing a crisis. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. His heart was filled with strong killing intent. Then, he turned and flew in a direction. Lu Ming. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. It was Tang Jun. Lu Ming, you want to go out and save Xiao Qing? This must be the Heavenly Palace's scheme. They must have a lot of experts in the boundless demon abyss. If you go, you'll be walking right into their trap. Tang Jun said. I know, but I must go. Lu Ming said in an unwavering tone. How could he not know that this trip would be very dangerous? However, he had to go. He definitely could not sit back and watch Xian Yanqing fall into danger. Even if it was a mountain of swords and a sea of flames, he had to give it a try. I'll go with you, Tang Jun said. She knew that she could not stop Lu Ming. No, you don't have to go. I alone am enough. Lu Ming said. I must go. After all, Xian Yanqing was my sister in my previous life. Tang Jun said. I said I alone am enough. You'll only be a hindrance if you go. Lu Ming said coldly. He did not want Tang Jun to take the risk with him. This trip would be very dangerous. Moreover, he was telling the truth. Although Tang Jun's cultivation had broken through another level and reached the 7th level of the Divine Master Realm, which was the same as Lu Ming's, she was definitely not a match for Lu Ming in terms of combat strength. Moreover, Lu Ming still had Qiuqiu and the Bone Demon. He was more confident if he acted alone. If he brought Tang Jun along, she would really be a hindrance. Tang Jun glared at Lu Ming. She had never been looked down upon like this before. However, what made her want to vomit blood was that she found that she could not refute. Lu Ming's combat strength was indeed above hers. Swoosh! Lu Ming stepped forward and disappeared like a phantom, leaving Tang Jun standing in the void in a daze. Soon, Lu Ming came to a large hall. There was a wormhole in the hall that led to the outside. Heaven Destroyer had certainly left a way out for itself. There were a few wormholes that led to different places in the universe ruins. If the array was really broken, Heaven Destroyer would arrange for some people to escape through the wormholes and leave a spark for Heaven Destroyer. Now, Lu Ming was going to leave Heaven Destroyer's base temporarily through the wormhole and go to the Infinite Fiend Abyss. Lu Ming, are you really going to leave? This trip will be very dangerous. Lion appeared not far away without making a sound. I have to leave. Lu Ming said. That's good too. If you can save your wife, don't come back. Find a place to hide and cultivate in peace. It won't be too late to kill your way to the heavenly palace after you've completed your cultivation. Lion said. Chapter 47:23. Lion did not persuade Lu Ming to stay. He understood Lu Ming and knew that once Lu Ming made a decision, he would not change it easily. If I don't die, I will definitely come back. Lu Ming said in his heart. How could he not come back? His family and friends were still here. How could he not come back? The reason why he did not plan to put his family and friends into the Chaos Ring was because this trip was really dangerous. If they followed him, they might die and the Chaos Ring would fall into the hands of the Heavenly Palace. If they stayed here, they would be safe for at least 200 to 300 years. Maybe there would be a turn for the better. Take care. In the end, Lion said. Don't worry, I will be fine. Lu Ming smiled and then stepped into the wormhole in the main hall and disappeared. After some time, maybe a few hours or maybe a day or two, Lu Ming appeared on a small fragment of a continent. This should be the smoke region. It should not be far from the infinite demon abyss. Lu Ming took out the map of the universe ruins and looked at it. There were several wormholes in the Heaven Destroyer base that could lead out. The one Lu Ming chose was the closest to the infinite demon abyss. After knowing his location, Lu Ming's figure flashed and flew toward the infinite demon abyss. The infinite demon abyss, even in the universe ruins, was relatively remote. Very few people came here. The infinite demon abyss was on a fragment of a continent. There were almost no other continent fragments around this fragment. It was empty. After some time, Lu Ming arrived near this fragment of a continent. Looking from afar, the entire continent fragment was shrouded in a thick demonic aura. The situation inside could not be seen. Lu Ming restrained his aura to the extreme and rushed toward the fragment of a continent. He was on high alert. There might be experts from the Heavenly Palace lying in ambush in this fragment of a continent. He did not dare to be careless. Soon, Lu Ming rushed through the thick demonic aura and landed on the continent. This continent was dead silent and filled with dense demonic qi. There were no plants at all. What entered one's eyes were bare rocks and mountains. Where exactly is the immeasurable devil abyss? Lu Ming muttered. This piece of land was neither big nor small. It would take some effort to find the boundless demonic abyss. Lu Ming head north. I can sense that the demonic qi is the thickest there. The immeasurable demonic abyss might be there. Bone Demon's voice rang out in his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. That's right, the Bone Devil was the first devil bone in the primitive universe. He was the ancestor of the Devil Dao. Naturally, he was very sensitive to devil qi. Perhaps Bone Demon would be of great use on this trip. Lu Ming no longer hesitated and quickly flew towards the north. Along the way, they did not encounter any masters from the Heavenly Palace, nor did they encounter any danger. After a while, a large palace appeared in front of Lu Ming. This palace looked dilapidated and had weathered the wind and frost of time. No one knew how many years it had been there. It was very likely that it was left behind from the last era. Lu Ming, the place with the densest demonic qi, is behind this palace. Bone Demon said. Lu Ming nodded. He did not intend to pass through this palace. Instead, he went around it from one side, intending to bypass it. Suddenly, a few rays of light shot out from the palace at an astonishing speed. There were a total of 3 rays of light, 1 sword ray and 2 spear rays. They were extremely sharp. Ultimate heavenly energy. It's the masters of the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Without any hesitation, the battle god's spear appeared in his hand. The battle god's spear shook and stabbed out. 3 spear rays burst out and pierced towards the 3 rays of light. Boom, boom, boom. There were 3 sounds of collision. The 3 rays of light were blocked. Lu Ming was pushed back by a powerful force. He retreated for 10,000 meters before he stabilized himself. 3 figures appeared in front of him. Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. There were indeed 3 heavenly human tribe masters. Moreover, They were all at the peak of the almighty Lord of Heaven level. At this moment, the three Lord of Heaven stared at Lu Ming with their eyes wide open. Their eyes were filled with shock. Just now, the three of them had joined forces, but Lu Ming had blocked their attacks. They could clearly sense that no one else had made a move. The one who had blocked their attacks was Lu Ming himself. Lu Ming's combat strength had reached such a level that he could fight the three Lord of Heaven alone? Join forces and kill him. One of the Lord of Heaven shouted. Swoosh, swoosh. The three Lord of Heaven's figures flashed and attacked Lu Ming together. This time, they pushed their combat strength to the maximum. All kinds of killing moves poured out in torrents. They were determined to kill Lu Ming. Bone Demon, I'll leave it to you, Lu Ming thought. The next moment, Bone Demon flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows and turned into a huge black skeleton. Its palm was like a demonic blade as it slashed out continuously. Clang, clang, clang. There were 3 consecutive bangs. The three Lord of Heaven's attacks were blocked by Bone Demon. Kill! Bone Demon roared and launched a counterattack. However, the three Lord of Heaven's combat strength was also very strong. Although Bone Demon was strong, it would be extremely difficult for him to defeat the three Lord of Heaven. For a moment, the two sides were evenly matched. However, there were obviously more experts from the Heavenly Palace lying in ambush here. In the palace, several figures flashed and rushed out. Their speed was very shocking. Before they arrived, their attacks were already attacking Lu Ming. It was the Lord of Heaven again. And there were 3 of them. However, one of the attacks made Lu Ming's muscles tense up. Terrifying, terrifying. Lu Ming felt a fatal danger. One of the Lord of Heaven's strength was very shocking. Qiu. Lu Ming did not hesitate to send a telepathic message to Qiu. Qiu turned into armor and covered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming activated the War God Spear and swept it out, colliding with the 3 attacks. 2 of the attacks were blocked by Lu Ming, but the other attack was too terrifying. It directly passed through the War God Spear and bombarded Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he retreated rapidly. Fortunately, Qiu's armor was able to block the attack. This person is very strong. He is much stronger than an ordinary Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming stared at one of the Lord of Heaven. This person was the tallest and wore silver armor. He held a silver spear in his hand and had an oppressive aura. Obviously, this was a terrifying Lord of Heaven, a peerless genius. Lu Ming had never seen this person before. He should have been guarding the Dark Universe and did not participate in the fight for the Human King's body. He felt that in a battle of the same level, this person's combat strength was stronger than Gumo's. Just now, Lu Ming had activated the battle's secret art to increase his combat strength by 9 times, but he still could not block this person's attack. Lu Ming reckoned that he would need to activate his origin source power in order to contend with this person. In order to deal with him, the Heavenly Palace had really put in a lot of effort. They had actually ambushed 6 Lord of Heaven here. Chapter 47-24. But this was to be expected. Back in the Halo world, Yi Qiuxian already knew that Lu Ming had the Bone Demon by his side, and that this person alone was comparable to several Lord of Heaven. Thus, in order to kill Lu Ming, the Heavenly Palace naturally had many experts lying in ambush. Among them was a top-class Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming, it seems like you've made another breakthrough in cultivation. As expected, a scourge like you can't be left alive. Kill. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven coldly roared as he gripped his silver spear and charged at Lu Ming. The spear pierced through the air with astonishing speed, thrusting toward Lu Ming's forehead. Let me! Qiu's voice rang out as he quickly wriggled, transforming into a mirror in front of Lu Ming's chest. A pillar of light shot out from the mirror and instantly enveloped the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Qiu was now an 8th-tier God Lord, so his fighting strength had soared. The illusory realm created by the pillar of light was also much stronger. Although the silver-armored Lord of Heaven was powerful, he was still somewhat affected. His movements stiffened for a moment, and his eyes went blank for a moment. A good chance. Lu Ming's eyes brightened as he used the heaven-cleaving style. Man and spear became one, transforming into a spear of light that stabbed at the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Break for me! The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared as he madly struggled to break free of the illusory realm's influence. He swung his spear to block Lu Ming's attack. However, he had still been affected by the illusory realm. In his haste, he could not use all of his strength, only a portion of it. How could a portion of his strength be a match for Lu Ming? Clang! The two spears collided, and Lu Ming knocked aside the silver spear. Lu Ming's spear did not stop there, continuing to stab at the man's forehead. The man's pupils constricted as he rapidly retreated, hoping to avoid Lu Ming's attack. However, it was already too late. Lu Ming was even faster. Just as he was about to stab the opponent's vital points, two weapons suddenly appeared from both sides, blocking Lu Ming's spear. The long spear vibrated, and Lu Ming staggered back a few steps. His attack was interrupted. They were the other two Lord of Heaven. What a pity! Lu Ming sighed softly. Just now, when he and Qiuqiu cooperated, they really had a chance of killing this top-notch Lord of Heaven. Unfortunately, the other party was not alone and had companions. The other two Lord of Heaven stepped in and blocked Lu Ming's killing blow. It would be difficult to find such an opportunity later on. Lu Ming, you're courting death. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was enraged after escaping death. He uttered a furious roar as his figure split into more than 10 clones and charged at Lu Ming from all directions. Every single one of the clones looked real, and it was difficult to tell which was the real one. At the same time, the other two Lord of Heaven also charged at Lu Ming. Qiuqiu transformed back into armor and covered Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming brandished his war god spear and fought with the other party. However, once they exchanged blows, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, dealing with an ordinary Lord of Heaven was more than enough. It would not be difficult to kill him even if he used all his means. He could even deal with 2 of them, but it would be very difficult to deal with 3 of them. And this silver-armored Lord of Heaven was extremely powerful, far surpassing the combined strength of 3 ordinary Lord of Heaven. In a head-on confrontation, Lu Ming was no match for him. Fortunately, with Qiuqiu, he could tangle with the other party for a while. The two sides quickly exchanged more than 10 moves. Bone Demon, let's go. Don't get entangled with him. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bone Demon. Then, he suddenly stimulated his origin energy and a trace of the power of the war god's spear, pushing the silver-armored Lord of Heaven back dozens of meters. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and rushed out of the encirclement. He rushed to Bone Demon's side and swung his war god's spear, sending a Lord of Heaven who was fighting Bone Demon flying. Bone Demon seized the opportunity and turned into a ray of demonic light, rushing into Lu Ming's glabella. Lu Ming used the Great Aurora technique and quickly rushed through the palace, flying north. Chase! The silver-armored Lord of Heaven shouted, his face rather gloomy. There were 6 heavenly lords, as well as a top-notch heavenly lord like him, but they did not manage to take Lu Ming down. It would be a great disgrace if word got out. Lu Ming flew past the palace and saw a pitch-black abyss. This abyss was very long and wide. It was filled with demonic qi, and he couldn't see how deep it was. Infinite demonic abyss. Lu Ming was sure that this was the infinite demonic abyss, and Xian Yanqing was below. Lu Ming didn't hesitate at all. He rushed into the abyss and fell rapidly. The 6 heaven lords also chased after the abyss, following closely behind Lu Ming. Greater teleportation technique. Lu Ming's mind stirred. He circulated the forbidden power and cast the transference skill. His body, which was originally falling rapidly, disappeared right away. He shifted forward. The infinite demonic abyss was originally filled with dense demonic qi, which seriously affected one's vision. Lu Ming suddenly moved out, and the 6th Lord of Heaven instantly lost track of Lu Ming. They stopped in midair and carefully scanned their surroundings, but they didn't find Lu Ming. Damn it, send a message to the people below the infinite demonic abyss. Lu Ming has broken through the seal and entered the infinite demonic abyss. Have them attack together. They must kill Lu Ming below the infinite demonic abyss. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven said with a cold face. Immediately, one of the Lord of Heaven took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message. Don't worry, The exterminating Lord of Heaven is below chasing after that Xian Yanqing. Once Lu Ming encounters the exterminating Lord of Heaven, only death awaits him. Another Lord of Heaven said, the exterminating Lord of Heaven was one of the 4 strongest Lords of Heaven in the Heavenly Palace. His strength was ridiculously strong, standing at the limit of the Divine Master Realm, far surpassing the other Lords of Heaven. The other Lords of Heaven couldn't even block a single move from the Lord of Heaven and would be killed instantly. After the message was sent, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the other 5 continued to descend, joining in the pursuit of Lu Ming. Lu Ming moved about 1,000 miles away, but he was still in midair above the infinite demonic abyss. He didn't dare to move too far away. After all, he wasn't familiar with the infinite demonic abyss, so he didn't dare to move recklessly. If he ended up in an irresistible danger zone, he would vomit blood. As long as he could avoid the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the others, it would be fine. Fortunately, he was fine. Lu Ming continued to descend rapidly. The infinite demonic abyss was very deep. Lu Ming descended for 1,000,000 miles before he finally reached the bottom of the abyss. The bottom of the infinite demonic abyss wasn't much different from the top. It was deathly still, without any living creatures or plants, filled with demonic energy. However, the density of the demonic energy was much denser than the top. Lu Ming, go in that direction. There are mysterious and powerful fluctuations coming from that direction. There must be something strange. That little girl, Xian Yanqing, might be in that direction. Bone Demon flew out and pointed in a direction. Go. Lu Ming flew in that direction. After a short distance, Bone Demon suddenly shouted, "Careful!" Next, the Bone Demon struck a black shadow with his palm, causing it to scatter. However, there were still 2 black shadows that pounced on Lu Ming with shocking speed. With Bone Demon's warning, Lu Ming reacted. The War God's spear appeared and stabbed out twice, hitting the 2 shadows. Chapter 47:25. The spear of the God of War pierced through the 2 shadows, but the shadows were like phantoms. The spear of the God of War didn't seem to have hit anything. The 2 shadows continued to charge towards Lu Ming and rushed into Lu Ming's body. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart was filled with murderous intent. The negative emotions that had been accumulated during the siege of the Heavenly Palace seemed to have exploded. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. His eyes were red and his face was distorted. But in the next second, Lu Ming's eyes regained some clarity and he shouted, "Get out of my way!" His soul vibrated and the forbidden power was activated. His body shone brightly. Screams came from his body and at the same time, wisps of black mist were released. The black mist seemed to be alive. It was like a few small snakes that wanted to drill into the ground. "Where are you going?" Guo shouted and opened his mouth. A few wisps of black mist were sucked into Gumo's mouth. The soul flames in Gumo's eyes flickered and he looked intoxicated. "Phew, so powerful. It can trigger and strengthen my inner demon." Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. The shadow just now was too powerful. He attacked with the spear of the God of War, but it couldn't kill it. Instead, the shadow rushed into his body and triggered his negative emotions, creating an inner demon. It was dangerous. If he wasn't careful, Lu Ming would be completely taken over by the inner demon and become its puppet. "If I'm not wrong, this is the immeasurable demonic soul," Guo said. "Immeasurable demonic soul?" Lu Ming was puzzled. "It's a special type of demonic creature. It's very strange and powerful. It can detonate the negative emotions of any living being, causing them to be controlled by negative emotions and completely sink into depravity, becoming the puppet of the immeasurable demonic soul. Fortunately, your willpower is strong and you manage to break free. Otherwise, you would be in danger," Guo explained. "Why are you fine? You can absorb the immeasurable demonic soul?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "Because I have a way to deal with them. Moreover, the immeasurable devil soul is a supreme treasure to Xioma cultivators. After destroying their bodies, they will leave behind a strand of incomparably pure devil qi. Xioma cultivators can directly absorb it and transform it into their own power. The effect is much better than absorbing and refining primordial crystals," Guo said. "So that's the case. No wonder Elder Fei Huang wanted to send Xiao Qing here to train. Xiao Qing's cultivation can rapidly rise in this place. There is no lack of energy, Lu Ming pondered. Bone Demon, how did you deal with them? Can you teach me? Lu Ming said. That's simple. The immeasurable demonic soul's body is in between the real and the illusory. Normal attacks are ineffective against them. However, your taboo power can actually cause damage to the immeasurable demonic soul. You just need to attack a few more times. However, I will teach you a more useful method. As long as you attack, your power will explode with a special vibration, and you will be able to destroy the body of the immeasurable devil soul. Immediately, Gu Mo imparted a method to Lu Ming. This method was actually very simple. It was much easier than the ancient secret technique. It was just a small trick to use power. Lu Ming learned it immediately. After learning it, they continued their journey. In the next 10 minutes, they didn't encounter any immeasurable devil souls. However, there were still immeasurable devil souls attacking them. This time, Lu Ming used the Bone Demon Sex method. He swept out his long spear and hit 2 immeasurable devil souls. The 2 immeasurable devil souls collided and exploded, turning into 2 wisps of pure devil chi that were absorbed by Gu Mo. As the 2 of them continued their journey, they were attacked by immeasurable devil souls from time to time. There were strong and weak immeasurable devil souls. Even if Lu Ming had mastered the method, it was still difficult to deal with the powerful immeasurable devil souls. Of course, it was easy to deal with Gu Mo. Gu Mo was naturally adept at dealing with this kind of devil. According to him, he had at least 10 methods to deal with these immeasurable devil souls. The one he taught Lu Ming was the simplest one. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours had passed. In these 2 hours, Lu Ming didn't encounter Xian Yinqing or other experts from the Heavenly Palace. The reason was that the immeasurable devil abyss was too big. Needless to say, it was tens of thousands of miles wide. Who knew how long it was? Moreover, the terrain was extremely complicated. Huge rocks and peaks were all over the immeasurable devil abyss. From time to time, immeasurable devil souls would appear, causing Lu Ming and the others to be unable to speed up. In such a complicated terrain and vast area, it was really difficult to find a person in a place where they would be attacked from time to time. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he looked at a huge rock. On this huge rock, there was a circle. This circle was obviously not natural. It was carved by someone. What's so special about this circle? Could it be that Xian Yinqing was the one who carved it? Bone Demon seemed to have noticed something and asked. That's right. This circle is indeed carved by Xiao Qing. This is a kind of signal that we use to communicate with each other. It can point out the direction of her current location. Xiao Qing must still be alive. She might be trapped somewhere, and my sound transmission jade talisman can't be sent out, Lu Ming said. This place didn't suppress the communication jade talisman. He wanted to use it to send a message to Xian Yinqing, but he found that it couldn't get out. A circle can point out the direction. Wait, I see. Bone Demon looked carefully. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said, I see. Although this circle doesn't have any arrow to point out the direction, the line on one side of the circle is thinner than the line on the other side. Although it's just a little thinner, it should be deliberately left there. Senior Bone Demon, your eyes are really sharp, Lu Ming said with a smile. The line on one side of the circle was indeed thinner. Lu Ming, although this method is good, the flaw is also very obvious. If I can see it, so can others. It's easy to guess the meaning of this circle. Xian Yinqing pointed out the direction for you. Doesn't that mean that she also pointed out the direction for the people of the Heavenly Palace and exposed herself? Bone Demon said seriously. Of course it's not that simple. Lu Ming smiled and said, look carefully. There are actually 3 small gaps in this circle. Yes, there are indeed 3 gaps. Bone Demon said after careful observation. I made an agreement with Xiao Qing. If there is 1 gap, it means that she carved the first circle. Then her position is the direction where the line on the ball is thinner. If there are 2 gaps, it means that she carved the second circle. Then we have to change our view. The direction where the line on the ball is thinner is the opposite direction where Xiao Qing is. Lu Ming explained. I see. What about the 3 gaps? Bone Demon asked. Chapter 47-26. 3 notches means that this is the 3rd circle carved by Shaoqing. Then we can see it differently. The direction where the lines of the ball are thinner is the direction where Shaoqing is. Lu Ming said. Wonderful. It's so unpredictable. Even if the Heavenly Palace sees it, they won't be able to guess where Xian Yanqing is. They can only look around blindly. Gumo said. Let's go. Lu Ming didn't delay any longer. He flew out with Gumo according to the ball's instructions. Sure enough, after a while, Lu Ming saw another circle. There were 4 small notches on this ball. Obviously, it was the 4th circle carved by Xian Yanqing. Naturally, there were different ways to identify the 4th circle. They continued to follow the guidance of the circle. Just like that, one by one, Lu Ming found the balls. After finding the 9th circle, they came to a place filled with jagged rocks of strange shapes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the ground was filled with runes. These runes intertwined and formed a large array. The array condensed beams of sword gleams and slashed toward Lu Ming and Bone Demon. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He took out the war god's spear and prepared to block. But the sword light stopped halfway and turned into wisps of devil chi and dissipated. Lu Ming! A delicate shout rang out, and the voice was filled with a strong sense of surprise. Then, a figure floated out from the rocks. Who else could it be but Xian Yanqing? Shaoqing! Lu Ming was overjoyed. He went up to her. The two stood facing each other and hugged. After a long time, they separated. Shaoqing, it's great that you're fine. By the way, how did you know I would come here and carve a mark to guide me here? Lu Ming asked. The people from the Heavenly Palace said that they would lead you here. They wanted to anger me and influence me. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. You met people from the Heavenly Palace? How did you escape? Lu Ming carefully examined him and discovered that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had greatly increased compared to before. He had already reached the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. This speed of improvement could be said to be shockingly fast. Actually, this was normal. This place was definitely very suitable for Xian Yanqing to cultivate. In addition, Lu Ming's cultivation base had not improved much in the past 800 years. He had only improved by 1 level. The rest of his time was spent on comprehending secret techniques and the battle character formula. As for Xian Yanqing, she could constantly improve here. Furthermore, she had the memories of her past life and the origin seed. Naturally, her improvement would be very fast. However, even if Xian Yanqing reached the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm, he was still far from being a match for the experts of the Heavenly Palace. The people sent by the Heavenly Palace this time were likely to be 9th level Divine Lords or peak Divine Lords. Xian Yanqing was definitely no match for them. Once he encountered them, it would be very dangerous. This was why Lu Ming had been so worried. Senior Fei Huang had once left behind some traps in the boundless devil abyss. It was because of Senior Fei Huang's traps that I was able to avoid a calamity and shake off the experts of the heavenly human race. Senior Fei Huang has also set up a powerful killing and concealing array here. I have been hiding here for the past few days and the people of the Heavenly Palace have not found me. Xian Yanqing explained. Lu Ming finally understood. It turned out that Fei Huang had already left behind a backup plan. Lu Ming, did something happen outside? The people of the Heavenly Palace were clamoring that the Heaven Destroyer would be destroyed soon. What happened? Xian Yanqing asked again. She had been in seclusion all this time, and she knew nothing about the outside world. It's like this. Lu Ming immediately recounted the major events that had happened in the universe during this time. What? Something like this actually happened? When Xian Yanqing heard this, his heart beat wildly, and he found it hard to calm down. At the same time, he was incomparably worried. The Heaven Destroyer could last for 300 years at most. What would happen after that? Xian Yanqing's brows were tightly knitted together, and he remained silent. What's in that direction? Why do I feel that there's a shocking amount of devil chi and powerful fluctuations in that direction? Bone Devil looked towards the depths of the boundless demon abyss. Xian Yanqing regained his senses and said, That's where the boundless devil steel is located, and it's the core of the boundless demon abyss. The boundless devil souls here are most likely related to the boundless devil steel. Because the closer you are to the boundless devil steel, the stronger the boundless devil souls are, and the purer and denser the devil chi it contains. It's also more helpful to absorb it. Boundless devil steel. Bone Devil's eyes flickered with curiosity and he said, I feel that there's a great opportunity over there, and it might be able to improve our cultivation by leaps and bounds. Xian Yanqing sized Bone Devil up curiously. He could feel a powerful devil aura coming from Bone Devil's body. He knew that Bone Devil was a devil cultivator. It's a pity that there are too many boundless devil souls around the boundless devil steel. I can't even get close, and I'll be drowned by a large number of boundless devil souls. Xian Yanqing sighed. Let's go take a look, maybe I have a way to get there. Bone Devil said. A light flashed in Xian Yanqing's eyes, and he nodded. Then let's go. After all, that place is filled with boundless devil souls, and the heavenly palace's people won't come close. There's no need to be afraid of being discovered, Xian Yanqing said. With that said, he led the way into the depths of the boundless devil abyss. Xian Yanqing had stayed in the boundless devil abyss for many years, and he was very familiar with the terrain. He led Lu Ming and the others around, avoiding the heavenly palace's people as well as the boundless devil souls. They went deeper and deeper into the boundless devil abyss, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. What a powerful fluctuation! 2 balls of flames burned in Bone Devil's eyes, and he looked very expectant. They hid on top of a tall rock and looked into the distance. The terrain in front of them was flat, and there was a giant stone stele on the flat ground. The stone stele was huge, at least several hundred zhang tall, and it was faintly discernible in the devil chi. There were countless black shadows flying around the stone stele. These black shadows were all boundless devil souls. At a glance, it was hard to tell how many there were, but there were at least several tens of thousands of them. With so many boundless devil souls, it was definitely a terrifying force. If they swarmed together, Lu Ming would definitely be trapped in his heart's devil forever, unable to extricate himself. Bone Devil, do you have a way to get past it? Lu Ming asked. Very simple, disguise us as boundless devil souls, and we can easily pass through these boundless devil souls and get close to the boundless devil stele. Did you guys notice that there are no boundless devil souls around the boundless devil stele? I'm guessing that the boundless devil souls don't dare to get close to the boundless devil stele. Bone Devil said. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing nodded. They had also noticed this point. Do you have a way to disguise us as boundless devil souls? Lu Ming asked. Simple, we'll kill a few boundless devil souls and control their devil chi. I have a way, Bone Devil said. Chapter 47:27. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the Bone Devil retreated from the area and found several immeasurable devil souls. The Bone Devil dealt with these immeasurable devil souls and took control of the devil chi left behind by the immeasurable devil souls. Thereafter, the Bone Demon began to set up, carving runes on a wisp of immeasurable demon soul. After a period of time, this wisp of immeasurable demon soul flew toward Lu Ming and turned into a gush of energy, shrouding Lu Ming within. With this ball of energy, those immeasurable devil souls will treat you as one of their kind and won't attack. The Bone Devil said. He then repeated his previous actions and arranged the remaining 2 strands of devil chi around himself and Xian Yanqing. Let's go. Don't worry, I guarantee that nothing will happen. The Bone Devil was brimming with confidence as he led the way towards the immeasurable devil stele. What else could Lu Ming say? He could only follow. Soon, they were close to a large group of immeasurable devil souls. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's hearts rose to their throats. They were not as confident as the Bone Devil. If the Bone Devil's method didn't work, then it would be game over. Both of them were on high alert. If they discovered something wrong, they could run away immediately. However, the Bone Devil was extremely confident as he swaggered towards the large group of immeasurable devil souls. In the end, it was proven that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had worried too much. Those immeasurable devil souls acted as if they did not notice the Bone Devil, allowing him to swagger past them. The two of them breathed out in relief as they followed the bone devil through the large group of immeasurable devil souls. Soon, they passed through the group of immeasurable devil souls and approached the immeasurable devil steel. That is, when they got close to the immeasurable devil steel, all three of them felt a jolt in their hearts. They had not noticed before, but there was a figure sitting cross-legged under the immeasurable devil steel. This figure was a skeleton. The skeleton had the shape of a human, but it was much bigger than a human skeleton. Just by sitting cross-legged there, the skeleton was more than 3 meters tall. Moreover, the skeleton was not white, but pitch black. It was as black as ink, but it had a faint luster, like a piece of black jade. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing sized up the bone devil. Both of them were too similar. Both of them were human skeletons in human form, and pitch black like ink. The black immeasurable devil souls was sitting there. Without a sound, there was no movement or life force. However, a powerful pressure. Devil's might. This devil's blood was devil's devil soul. The bones devil's devil lord, devil soul, he's devils. If devil's devil, devil devil. If devil soul, devil soul, the devil, of devil, bone demon, is this skeleton one of your kind? Lu Ming could not help asking. He had heard from the bone devil that he was the first devil bone in the primitive universe that gave birth to intelligence. The bone devil speculated that his predecessor was probably a skeleton left behind by a peerless expert from the previous era. After the evolution of the universe, he gave birth to intelligence. The skeleton in front of them was probably left behind from the previous era. Wouldn't it be similar to the bone devil? I don't know. In short, I'm sure that if I can fuse with this skeleton, it will be of great help to me. You guys stay here and don't move. I'll try. After the bone devil finished speaking, he dashed toward the pitch-black skeleton. The pitch-black skeleton exuded a terrifying fluctuation. Ordinary people would not be able to get close to it. Even the peerless Lord of Heaven would not be able to get close to it. However, the bone devil was not affected by it. He continued to approach the pitch-black skeleton. Swoosh. In the end, the bone devil turned into a ray of devil light, rushed into the pitch-black skeleton and disappeared. Then, the powerful devil aura exuded by the pitch-black skeleton quickly retracted until it completely disappeared. The pressure on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing disappeared. This skeleton is already under my control. Next, I'm going to fuse with it. You guys can do as you please. The bone devil's voice sounded, and then it went silent. Only the pitch-black skeleton remained, emitting a faint devil aura. The bone devil succeeded. Lu Ming's heart leaped with joy. The bone devil's strength would increase significantly with this pitch-black skeleton. Although it was the origin tribulation, and the bone devil would not be able to break through to the origin realm, his battle power would increase significantly. It would be of great help to Huang Xiaolong. Xian Yanqing's gaze was completely attracted to the immeasurable devil steel. The immeasurable devil steel looked extremely ancient. There were faint carvings on its surface that looked like the most ancient runes. This was only one side of the steel. On the other side, there were drawings of living beings of various shapes and sizes. Some of them had green faces and fangs, while others had 3 heads and 6 arms. They exuded a powerful devil aura, exuding a mysterious aura. This immeasurable devil steel is very unique. It can exude a mysterious fluctuation. I have only sensed it from afar, and it has been very beneficial to me. It can help me comprehend some powerful secret arts, and it can even deepen my understanding of cultivation. Now that I've come into contact with it, this feeling is even more profound. Xian Yanqing said. It seems like this is a Devil Dao supreme treasure. Lu Ming nodded. He did not have the feeling that Xian Yanqing had described. Suddenly, the immeasurable devil steel flashed, and a wisp of devil chi flew out from it. This wisp of devil chi flew into the distance, and the surrounding energy gathered towards it. In the end, it formed a boundless devil soul. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked. It turned out that the boundless devil soul was produced by the immeasurable devil steel. This had exceeded their expectations. The pure devil chi in the boundless devil soul had come from the immeasurable devil steel. Xian Yanqing circled around the immeasurable devil steel, sizing it up. Swish! Suddenly, another wisp of devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. This time, Xian Yanqing was prepared. The moment the wisp of devil chi flew out, she also flew out. Her palm reached out, forming a giant palm that grabbed at the wisp of devil chi. In the end, the wisp of devil chi was caught by Xian Yanqing. The wisp of devil chi seemed to have a life of its own as it twisted and struggled, trying to escape. However, it could not escape from Xian Yanqing's palm. She sat cross-legged and circulated her cultivation technique, slowly absorbing the wisp of devil chi. After absorbing the wisp of devil chi, Xian Yanqing's aura grew stronger. Such rich and pure devil chi. It's many times purer than the devil chi I got from the immeasurable devil soul. Xian Yanqing exclaimed in admiration. Little Qing, you can focus on your cultivation. After all, the bone devil is merging with his bones. I'll stand guard for you. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and continued to wait. Devil chi didn't fly out from the immeasurable devil steel all the time. In the next few days, no devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. After 3 days, 2 wisps of devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel and were caught by Xian Yanqing. Chapter 47:28. After catching the 2 strands of devil chi, Xian Yanqing slowly refined them and absorbed them into his body. After refining them, he continued to wait. A few days later, more devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. Just like that, devil chi would fly out from the immeasurable devil steel every few days. After refining this devil chi, Xian Yanqing's cultivation rose by leaps and bounds. Originally, Xian Yanqing's cultivation was only at the early 7th layer of the Divine Master realm. As he continued to refine the devil chi, his cultivation rose rapidly. In just a month, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had reached the mid-7th layer of the Divine Master realm. This speed was shocking. At this rate, as long as there was sufficient devil chi, Xian Yanqing would be able to cultivate to the 8th layer of the Divine Master realm. The bone devil was still merging with the devil chi. This pitch-black skeleton was clearly extraordinary. No one knew how strong it had been when it was alive. Hence, the speed of merging with the bone devil was extremely slow. 1 month's time wasn't enough. As for the immeasurable devil souls around the immeasurable devil steel, they were roaming around randomly. They didn't dare to approach the immeasurable devil steel. This made Lu Ming feel relieved. He split a portion of his attention to observe the surroundings while comprehending the battle symbol formula and other secret arts. He didn't want to waste any time. Time flew by, and another 2 months went by. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He opened his eyes and looked into the distance. Several figures appeared in the distance. They were the heavenly human race's experts. The heavenly human race's experts were standing in the distance, looking at the immeasurable devil steel. They had clearly seen Lu Ming's group. Then, the 3 of them whispered to each other. One of them left in a hurry, while the other 2 stayed behind to guard the area. It seems like they went to look for help. Lu Ming pondered. Should he take the opportunity to leave? Lu Ming hesitated. In the end, Lu Ming decided to stay. The immeasurable devil souls surrounded the immeasurable devil steel. According to Xian Yanqing, the closer the immeasurable devil souls were to the immeasurable devil steel, the stronger they would be. The immeasurable devil souls in the vicinity were all powerful existences. Even if the heavenly human race's experts came, they wouldn't be able to rush in. Sure enough, several experts from the heavenly human race rushed over. There were more than 20 of them. Even the weakest of them was a 9th-level divine master. There were more than a dozen of them, and there were even a dozen of them who were peak divine masters. Immeasurable devil steel, the devil steel of the immeasurable devil souls. The Lord of Extermination. Lu Ming's of the immortal of his face, he saw an acquaintance, one of the 4 strongest heaven monarchs of the heaven palace, the extermination heaven monarch. Lord Huang heavenly human, of the god of devil immortal Huang, Lords of the immeasurable him. The Lord of Extermination was definitely an existence standing at the peak of the Divine Master realm. He was definitely stronger than the devil steel of the immeasurable devil souls. Ordinary lords of heaven wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. This time, the heavenly palace had actually sent their strongest lord of heaven. They wanted to kill Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing are inside, but there are too many immeasurable devil souls. What should we do? Someone asked the Lord of Heaven. The Lord of Heaven stood in the middle, looking at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. His face was gloomy. There are too many immeasurable devil souls here. There are more than 10,000 of them, and the closer they are to the devil's steel, the stronger they are. With our strength, only death awaits us if we rush in. The Lord of Heaven said. In order to deal with the immeasurable devil souls, they had brought some treasures from the heavenly palace that could restrain the immeasurable devil souls. However, there were too many immeasurable devil souls here. Even if they had treasures that could restrain the immeasurable devil souls, it was useless. Then what should we do? The person from before asked. They will come out sooner or later. Let's just stay here and wait for them to come out. It won't be too late for us to take action after they come out. The Lord of Heaven said. The others nodded. Then, they scattered and hid themselves well, blocking the exit. Indeed, they don't dare to take action? Lu Ming muttered. Lu Ming was aware of the movements of the heavenly palace's experts. This wasn't out of Lu Ming's expectations. He had long expected that these heavenly humans wouldn't dare to take action and would stay outside. Now, we just have to wait for the Bone Demon. I hope that the Bone Demon's combat strength will skyrocket after fusing with the Black Bone. When the time comes, we can fight our way out. Lu Ming thought. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, a few years had passed. The Bone Demon was still fusing with the Black Bone. However, after a few years, the Bone Demon seemed to have reached the final juncture. The Black Bone had shrunk several times, shrinking to the size of an ordinary person. However, the bone seemed to have become more condensed, and it seemed to contain an extremely dense devil chi. The aura emanating from the bone was almost entirely the Bone Demon's aura. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before the Bone Demon successfully fused with the Black Bone. After a few years of cultivation, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had also improved greatly. She had reached the peak of the 7th-tier Divine Master realm. She wasn't far from the 8th-tier Divine Master realm. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura emanated from Xian Yanqing's body. The devil chi on her body flourished. Then, an illusory figure emerged from Xian Yanqing's body. What a powerful aura! That woman seems to have been absorbing the devil chi to cultivate and increase her cultivation these past few years. A heavenly human expert exclaimed, revealing a look of envy and jealousy. Even if she reaches the peak of the Divine Master realm, she's still no match for me. The Extermination Lord of Heaven coldly snorted, her killing intent chilling. Also, from the 9th-tier Divine Master realm to the peak of the Divine Master realm, one can't rely on absorbing energy. One needs to slowly condense their origin energy. By the time she reaches the peak of the Divine Master realm, the Heaven Destroyer will have been destroyed. At that time, the few of them left will not be able to escape death. The Extermination Lord of Heaven coldly sneered. At this moment, Lu Ming completely ignored the people of the Heavenly Palace. His gaze was completely focused on the illusory figure on Xian Yanqing's body. Lu Ming had seen this illusory figure before. In the past, when Xian Yanqing pushed her fighting strength to the limit, this illusory figure would also appear on her body. This illusory figure was clearly that of a woman. Her figure was graceful and alluring, but it was a pity that her face was shrouded in a layer of devil chi, making it impossible to see her face clearly. In the past, Lu Ming had thought that this illusory figure could be Xian Yanqing's previous incarnation. Later, Lu Ming thought that this illusory figure could be related to Fei Huang. After all, Fei Huang was Xian Yanqing's master. But now, it seemed like neither of them were related. It didn't look like her at all. Buzz. Right at this time, a shocking scene occurred. The immeasurable devil steel started to tremble violently. The carvings on the steel emitted a dazzling light, as if they had come to life. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The immeasurable devil steel's trembling became more and more violent. Dense devil chi spread out from the steel, forming a pillar of devil chi that shot into the sky. Lu Ming wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded by this scene. The Heavenly Palace's experts in the distance were also dumbfounded. They had no idea what was going on. At this time, Xian Yanqing also stopped cultivating and looked at the immeasurable devil steel in shock. Chapter 4729. Is this strange phenomenon related to Shaoqing? Lu Ming couldn't help but wonder. When Xian Yanqing's shadow had appeared, the immeasurable devil steel had started to tremble. The timing was too coincidental, and it seemed to have been caused by the shadow. However, Xian Yanqing had ended his cultivation, and the shadow around him had disappeared. Even so, the immeasurable devil steel was still trembling. What's going on? Why did the immeasurable devil steel start to tremble when I was cultivating? The bone devil was also alarmed, and he exclaimed in shock after ending the fusion. The soul flames in his eyes flickered, and it was clear that he didn't know what was going on. The immeasurable devil steel started to tremble more violently, and it eventually left the ground and flew high into the sky. The immeasurable devil souls in the surroundings let out ear-piercing shrieks as they roamed around restlessly. However, they didn't dare to get close to the immeasurable devil steel. The immeasurable devil steel started to shrink rapidly. It had originally been tens of thousands of zhang tall, but it quickly shrank to the size of a palm. Next, it transformed into a beam of light as it charged towards Xian Yanqing. It was simply too fast. Xian Yanqing wanted to dodge, but found that he was simply incapable of doing so. The immeasurable devil steel charged into Xian Yanqing's forehead and disappeared. Xian Yanqing seemed to have sensed something, and he sat down cross-legged. Boom! Xian Yanqing's aura soared, and the shadow around him appeared once again. Xian Yanqing was breaking through to the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm. In a few breaths' time, Xian Yanqing had successfully broken through the bottleneck, and his cultivation had reached the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm. However, it didn't stop there. His aura was still rising rapidly. Early 8th level of the Divine Master Realm, mid-8th level of the Divine Master Realm, Lu Ming, the Bone Devil, and the Heavenly Palace's experts were dumbfounded. The immeasurable devil souls let out ear-piercing shrieks as they charged towards Lu Ming, the Bone Devil, and Xian Yanqing from all directions. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. With so many immeasurable devil souls charging at them, only death was waiting for them. Bone Demon, do you have any ideas? Lu Ming shouted. No, run. Bone roared. Lu Ming was helpless. Just as he was about to put Xian Yanqing into his desolate ring and go all out, a powerful aura suddenly erupted from Xian Yanqing's body. This aura spread out in all directions like water ripples. This was the immeasurable devil steel's aura. The immeasurable devil souls stopped in their tracks, not daring to charge forward. Then, tens of thousands of endless demonic souls screamed in place, roaming about as if they were extremely anxious. A moment later, tens of thousands of demonic souls scattered in all directions. In the past, they had gathered here because of the immeasurable devil steel. Now that the immeasurable devil steel had disappeared, they were running around in all directions. Not good retreat. Let's go. This time, the masters of the Heavenly Palace were scared to death. A large number of immeasurable devil souls were charging at them, and they had already discovered them. The immeasurable devil souls shrieked, and a large number of them charged at the masters of the Heavenly Palace. Go! The Lord of Heaven of Extermination roared, and he retreated rapidly. More than 20 heavenly human race experts disappeared in the blink of an eye, not daring to linger. Lu Ming was a little stunned. He hadn't expected the crisis to be resolved so easily. Xian Yanqing's aura was still rising. Late 8th level God Master Realm, peak 8th level God Master Realm, boom. In less than a minute, Xian Yanqing's aura reached the 9th level of the God Master Realm. After reaching the 9th level of the God Master Realm, Xian Yanqing's aura finally stabilized. His powerful aura also retracted. Xian Yanqing opened his eyes. Little Qing, how are you? Lu Ming asked with concern. I'm fine. Xian Yanqing smiled. He felt good after breaking through 2 levels of cultivation. Little Qing, what's going on with the immeasurable devil steel? Lu Ming asked. I don't know why the immeasurable devil steel suddenly flew into my body, but I feel that the immeasurable devil steel has already recognized me as its master. I can control it now, and I can comprehend some of the mysteries of the devil path from it at all times. Xian Yanqing explained. Opportunity, what a great opportunity. The immeasurable devil steel is definitely one of the most precious treasures of the previous era. You actually managed to get your hands on it. This old devil is truly envious, jealous, and hateful. The Bone Devil shouted. The soul flames in his eye sockets flickered incessantly, revealing a look of intense jealousy. He was a great devil, and he could naturally sense how extraordinary the immeasurable devil steel was. To those who cultivated the devil path, it was definitely a supreme treasure. Bone Devil, didn't you obtain a great opportunity as well? How's the fusion with the skeleton coming along? Lu Ming changed the topic. It's almost done. It's a pity that I don't dare to break through due to the origin tribulation. Otherwise, I could use this opportunity to break through to the origin realm. Bone Devil sighed. Although you didn't break through, your battle strength should have increased by a lot, right? Lu Ming asked. Of course. Kid, I can suppress you with a single finger. Do you see that? My body is invulnerable. Even an origin-grade divine weapon can't hurt me. Ha, I'm invincible in the divine master realm. Bone Devil roared with laughter. Invincible in the divine master realm? Keep bragging. If Yi Immortal and Yi Qiuxian break through to the divine master realm, can you deal with them? Lu Ming probed. Cough cough, that kind of freak is another matter. However, I don't care about the so-called strongest person in the heavenly palace, the Lord of Heaven. Bone Devil said confidently. Is that so? All right, let's go. We're leaving this place. Lu Ming said. He was quite happy inside. If Bone Devil was not bragging, then Bone Devil was equivalent to a strongest Lord of Heaven at the very least. Under the influence of the origin tribulation, divine masters were at the peak of the origin realm. A strongest Lord of Heaven could sometimes have a great impact on the battlefield. Moreover, Xian Yanqing had also reached the 9th layer of the divine master realm. Xian Yanqing was extremely powerful in the first place. As a 9th layer divine master, Xian Yanqing was definitely not an ordinary Lord of Heaven's opponent. Even if she was not as strong as a strongest Lord of Heaven, she should not be weaker than a peak Lord of Heaven. With Lu Ming's current battle strength, he was definitely not Xian Yanqing's opponent. Even if they ran into the exterminating Lord of Heaven and the others, they had nothing to fear. Even if they were outnumbered, charging out should not be a problem. In a flicker, the 3 of them flew back the way they came. With Xian Yanqing in control of the immeasurable devil steel, they had no need to fear the immeasurable devil soul. Hence, their speed was extremely fast. In a dozen minutes, they had covered a very long distance. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, they heard a violent explosion in front of them, as well as a long whistle. It's the Heavenly Palace's people. It seems like the Heavenly Palace's people are fighting with the immeasurable devil soul. Bone Devil said. Let's go and take a look. If there's a chance, Lu Ming said. A cold light flickered in his eyes. This was a good opportunity. If there was a chance, Lu Ming did not mind taking action and eliminating the Heavenly Palace's experts. More than a dozen peak divine masters and a dozen 9th layer divine masters. It was not a small loss for the Heavenly Palace. Chapter 4730. Currently, the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer were at war. The Heaven Destroyer's base was in a precarious situation. Eliminating a portion of the Heavenly Palace's forces would be a great help to the Heaven Destroyer. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was just about to test my strength. Bone Devil grinned. Of course, it only revealed a row of black teeth. Kill! Xian Yanqing was even more decisive. He charged in the direction of the sound. Soon, they arrived at the scene of the battle. As expected, it was the Heavenly Palace's people fighting with the immeasurable devil souls. At this time, the 20 or so Heavenly Palace's experts were surrounded by a large group of immeasurable devil souls. However, Some of the Heavenly Palace's experts took out a few round beads. There were 7 round beads in total. These beads emitted a dazzling radiance, and a strange energy permeated the air. This energy vibrated in a unique way. Whenever the immeasurable devil souls rushed over, they would be sent flying. It seemed like these 7 round beads were specially made to restrain the immeasurable devil souls. However, there were too many immeasurable devil souls. Moreover, these immeasurable devil souls were the ones who had approached the immeasurable devil steel. They were extremely powerful. Although they were sent flying by the strange energy fluctuations, they were not destroyed. The Heavenly Palace's experts wanted to break out of the encirclement, but they couldn't do it in a short time. As long as we break those 7 round beads, the Heavenly Palace's experts will die. Lu Ming said, "That's easy. Wait for me here." Bone Devil said. After saying that, he turned into a streak of black lightning and disappeared. A moment later, Bone Devil returned. The only difference was that his body was shrouded in a layer of devil chi. It was obvious that Bone Devil had killed an immeasurable devil soul and used the other party's devil chi to disguise himself as one of the immeasurable devil souls. "Watch me." Bone Devil directly charged towards the Heavenly Palace's experts and the immeasurable devil souls. Those immeasurable devil souls treated Bone Devil as one of their own and did not attack him. Bone Devil's speed was extremely fast. He charged past the immeasurable devil souls in an instant and charged towards one of the round beads. "It's him. It's the skeleton beside Lu Ming. Stop him." The people of the Heavenly Palace naturally recognized Bone Demon. Several Lord of Heaven immediately attacked Guemo. Several terrifying attacks were launched at Guemo. However, Guemo didn't care about these attacks at all. He didn't have any intention of blocking them and allowed the attacks to land on his body. Clang, clang, clang. 3 sounds of metal clashing rang out, but Guemo was completely fine. The 3 attacks did not leave a single mark on his body. He rushed past them without stopping and arrived in front of one of the beads. His pitch-black palm bone slashed at the bead like a demonic blade. Bang! The bead immediately exploded. Of the 7 beads, there were still 6 left. After shattering this bead, the Bone Demon quickly rushed to the next bead. With another palm strike, the second bead exploded. The Bone Demon's speed was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, it had shattered 2 of the beads. Many heavenly humans finally reacted. "Damn it, damned skeleton, blast him to pieces." Kill. More than 20 heavenly humans were enraged. They unleashed all their strength and attacked Guemo. These beads were their life-saving treasures. If all of them were destroyed, they would lose their treasures that could suppress the infinite demonic soul. Only death awaited them. Therefore they attacked with all their might. The Bone Demon's soul fluctuated. His hands were like demonic blades as they slashed out continuously, breaking the attacks one by one. Even if some of the attacks landed on Guemo, he only staggered a little. It was as if nothing had happened. He broke through the attacks and arrived in front of the 3rd bead. With a palm strike, he shattered the bead. There were still 4 beads left. The Bone Demon rushed to the 4th bead. "You're courting death." With a roar, a sharp sword light slashed at the Bone Demon. The sword chi whistled and filled the air with terrifying fluctuations. The soul fire in the Bone Demon's eye sockets flickered. The sword made him feel a sense of danger. Source-level weapon. A thought flashed through the Bone Demon's mind. He didn't need to look to know that this was an attack from a source-level weapon. He grabbed at the air, and a golden spear appeared in his hand. The spear swept out horizontally. Clang! The spear and the sword light collided with a deafening boom. A terrifying force spread out in all directions. 2 9th-tier divine masters of the Heavenly Palace couldn't dodge in time. They were struck by the scattered force and died on the spot. Then, the 2 figures floated backward. One was the Bone Demon, and the other was the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The one who had attacked just now was the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The battle sword in his hand was an source-level weapon. "The weapon of my Heavenly Palace," the Lord of Heaven of Extermination said coldly as he looked coldly at the golden battle spear in the Bone Demon's hand. "Soon, the battle sword in your hand will be mine." The bone demon's soul fluctuated and produced a voice. The golden battle spear in his hand was indeed obtained from the heavenly human tribe expert. In the world of light. Today I will make you pay with your life. Not just anyone can use the weapon of my heavenly human tribe. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination said coldly. His body exuded a powerful aura as he pushed his fighting strength to the limit. He stepped forward and charged at the bone demon. The bone demon was fearless. He waved his battle spear and met the attack. Clang, clang. The two moved with astonishing speed. After exchanging several dozen blows, the victor was still undecided. The bone demon is indeed much stronger than before. In the past, he would never have been able to match the Lord of Heaven of Extermination, but in terms of strength, the two seem to be on par. Lu Ming muttered, "If this battle drags on, the bone demon will win." Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded. That was indeed the case. The bone demon had fused with a pitch-black skeleton. His body was indestructible, and his demonic qi was extremely dense. Although the offensive strength of the two was about the same, the bone demon was superior in other aspects. In the short term, the two might be on par, but in the long term, the bone demon would win. After exchanging several dozen blows, the bone demon ignored his defense and took a blow from his opponent. Then, he threw out his spear and swept it at the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination coughed up blood and retreated. His body almost exploded, and his face was pale. Bam, bam. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the bone demon stabbed out twice with his spear and shattered 2 more round pearls. Now, there were only 2 round pearls left in the heavenly palace. The immeasurable demonic souls screamed and rushed toward the experts of the heavenly palace. With only 2 round pearls left, it was impossible to protect all sides. There would always be openings. Many immeasurable demonic souls rushed in and attacked the experts of the heavenly palace. The experts of the heavenly palace could only fight back. However, ordinary attacks were ineffective against these immeasurable demonic souls. These immeasurable demonic souls were very powerful. Suddenly, many 9th-tier Divine Master heavenly humans screamed. Their faces became ferocious, and their eyes turned blood red. They were completely filled with negative emotions. Kill, kill, kill. Several celestial beings roared, and they actually attacked their own people. Chapter 47:31. Puff puff, blood splattered everywhere. Several heavenly human tribe members were killed by their own people. They have been controlled by the inner demon and have completely fallen. Kill them. The Lord of Heaven of Annihilation shouted. Several Lord of Heaven of Annihilation attacked and killed the heavenly human tribe members who had fallen into madness. However, more immeasurable demonic souls rushed over and they couldn't kill them all. Some of the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation were also affected by the immeasurable demonic souls. The negative emotions in their hearts kept erupting. As for the bone devil, it set its sights on the remaining 2 beads and charged towards them. Let's work together and stop him. The Lord of Heaven of Annihilation shouted as he waved his origin divine weapon and attacked Guemo. At the same time, the other Lord of Heaven of Annihilation also attacked Guemo. Among them, the Lord of Heaven of Silver Armor was also very powerful. He was a top Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. He was second only to the 4 strongest Lord of Heaven. He also wielded a source-grade divine weapon, a silver spear. Guemo waved his spear and blocked the attacks of the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation. He staggered and retreated. However, as soon as Guemo retreated, he attacked the other party again. Although Gumo's defense was strong, his explosive attack was about the same as the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation. The other party's experts worked together and blocked Gumo's attack. They also knew Gumo's weakness, which was his eye sockets. That was where Gumo's soul was. Gumo's body was indestructible, but his soul was his weakness. In this way, Guemo had to focus on defense and couldn't break through the other party's defense. However, the other party only had 2 beads left and their defense was insufficient. Immeasurable demonic souls kept rushing in and many heavenly human tribe members were affected. Some heavenly human tribe members were completely controlled by the inner demon. The other heavenly human tribe members could only attack and kill them. After being controlled by the inner demon, they had become killing puppets. Otherwise, they would turn around and kill their own people. Lu Ming, let's attack too. Xian Yanqing whispered. Go around and exterminate the Lord of Heaven and the others. Lu Ming said. The two of them quietly took a detour. The people of the heavenly human tribe were fighting with all their might, so how could they still notice Lu Ming and the other person? When they circled behind the Lord of Heaven and the others, the two of them charged toward the battlefield. Those boundless devil souls had discovered the two of them, and they were about to pounce on them. However, Xian Yanqing controlled the boundless devil steel and released a wisp of aura that deterred those boundless devil souls from approaching. The two of them successfully passed through the infinite demonic souls and arrived behind the Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming died. The people of the heavenly palace naturally discovered Lu Ming and the other person. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared and stabbed his silver spear at Lu Ming. However, Xian Yanqing made his move. He took out his source-grade divine weapon and clashed with the silver spear. A loud explosion resounded as the silver-armored man's attack was blocked. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was shocked as he stared at Xian Yanqing. When they exchanged blows, he felt that Xian Yanqing's strength was shockingly strong. It seemed that Xian Yanqing wasn't any weaker than him. Heavenly Demon Domain. Xian Yanqing pressed his palm down and the heavenly demon domain enveloped the battlefield. Black lotus flowers appeared and turned into sword chi that filled the sky. They attacked the people of the heavenly palace. At the same time, Lu Ming also made his move. He rushed towards the experts of the heavenly human tribe. As he rushed out, Qiu turned into a mirror and a light shield that enveloped the people of the heavenly human tribe. Those with weaker strength were immediately affected by the illusion and their movements paused for a moment. Guimo wouldn't miss this opportunity. He stabbed out with his spear and killed the two Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming, on the other hand, became one with his spear and used the sky-breaking style. He rushed out and stabbed at the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Unfortunately, the Lord of Heaven reacted too quickly. He was almost unaffected by Qiu's illusion. He slashed his sword at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked and could only retreat quickly to avoid the sword. There was still a huge gap between his current strength and extermination heaven lords. Your opponent is me, Guimo shouted coldly. His spear was like a golden bolt of lightning as it stabbed at the Lord of Heaven. The Lord of Heaven had no choice but to fight with Guimo with all his strength. Meanwhile, Xian Yanqing was entangled with the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Swoosh! Lu Ming changed his direction and rushed towards one of the beads. Get lost! Several Lord of Heaven roared and attacked Lu Ming together. However, Lu Ming was fearless. He waved his war god spear and blocked two attacks. As for the other two attacks, Lu Ming didn't care. He let them hit his body because Qiu had turned into armor and covered his body. With Qiu's defense, Lu Ming blocked the two attacks. He rushed past them and stabbed his war god spear twice in a row. This time, Lu Ming activated the power of origin. The power of origin exploded in the war god spear, activating a trace of the war god spear's power and greatly increasing Lu Ming's attack power. Two of the Lord of Heaven's experts tried their best to defend against Huang Xiaolong's attack, but they failed. Their bodies shook violently as they staggered back, coughing up blood. One of them had a hole in his body, and he was almost killed. After injuring the two Lord of Heaven, Lu Ming didn't stop there. The war god's spear swept out horizontally. Bang! One of the beads was directly blasted apart. With only one bead left, the Seven Moons bead's area of defense became smaller. A large number of immeasurable devil souls rushed towards the heavenly palace's experts. Xian Yanqing sent a wisp of energy into Lu Ming's body that contained the immeasurable devil steel's aura. The immeasurable devil souls avoided him on purpose. More heavenly humans were attacked by the immeasurable devil souls. When the immeasurable devil souls rushed past their bodies, terrifying and strange energy erupted, triggering the negative emotions in their hearts. Kill. I'm number one under the heavens. Number one under the heavens, my ass. I'm the invincible one under the heavens. Those who go against me must die. Kill. I want to become the origin. I want to live forever. The heavenly humans' negative emotions erupted as they fell into their heart demons. Their eyes were bloodshot, and their expressions were hideous. As the immeasurable devil souls continued to attack, their heart demons grew stronger. By this time, the 9th-level Godmasters were already dead. The remaining experts on the Lord of Heaven's level couldn't resist the influence of their heart demons, and they slowly fell into madness. Regardless of who it was, there were negative emotions in their hearts. Even the Buddha race's top experts couldn't ignore everything. Once they fell into their heart demons, it was extremely terrifying. In the end, these heavenly humans started to kill each other. Lu Ming retreated in time to avoid being implicated. Charge out! The exterminating Lord of Heaven roared. After exchanging a move with the Bone Devil, both of them retreated. Then, he controlled the last bead and led the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and 2 other Lord of Heaven in a mad dash in a certain direction. Stay. The Bone Devil wouldn't let them leave so easily. He charged forward. Die for me. One of the Lord of Heaven revealed a crazed expression as he charged at the Bone Devil. As he charged, his body emitted a dazzling light. He wanted to self-detonate. Chapter 4732. Be careful. Lu Ming roared to warn Bone Demon. At the same time, he quickly retreated to Xian Yanqing's side, wanting to put Xian Yanqing into the Chaos Ring. You want to self-destruct in front of me? Dream on. Bone Demon shouted coldly. Instead of retreating, he rushed towards the other party, completely ignoring the other party's attack. In an instant, he rushed into the other party's arms. His palm was like a knife, stabbing into the other party's dantian, directly crushing the other party's universe bridge. Then the other hand chopped down, splitting the Lord of Heaven into 2 halves, completely killing him. However, this heavenly monarch had also obstructed the Bone Demon for a short while, giving the extermination heavenly monarch an opportunity. He was very decisive and directly threw the last round bead in a direction. Explode! The Lord of Heaven the extermination shouted softly, and the round bead exploded with a boom. The round bead exploded, forming a shock wave of energy. Everywhere it passed, a large number of infinite demonic souls were destroyed, and a path was forcibly opened in the crowd of infinite demonic souls. Bush. The Lord of Heaven the extermination, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, and the other Lord of Heaven, the 3 of them quickly rushed towards the path. Stay. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing attacked. Xian Yanqing performed the heavenly demon territory, enveloping the 3 Lord of Heaven in it. On the other hand, Lu Ming performed the primeval style and condensed a piece of land to suppress the trio. Their attacks were mainly to delay. They wanted to delay the 3 of them, waiting for Bone Demon or infinite demonic souls to rush over. The 3 Lord of Heaven roared and attacked together. Among them, the Lord of Heaven the extermination and the silver-armored Lord of Heaven were too strong. Both of them controlled source-level divine weapons. With a blow, they directly tore apart the Chaos Continent and the heavenly demon territory and continued to escape. However, at the critical moment, Qiuqiu shot out a beam of light that enveloped the 3 of them. Qiuqiu was now at the 8th level of the God-Lord realm, and the illusory energy contained in the Pillar of Light was extremely powerful. Of the 3 of them, only the exterminating Lord of Heaven was completely unaffected and could instantly break free. The other 2 would also be affected. Although the silver-armored Lord of Heaven would only be slightly affected, he would be able to quickly break free. However, this slight influence was already enough. Because the Bone Devil had arrived. Boom! Lu Ming activated the golden spear, causing it to become incomparably huge. It pressed down on the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the other Lord of Heaven. However, the exterminating Lord of Heaven was too fast and had already escaped the attack range. Ugh! The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared as he broke free from the illusion. He channeled all of his strength into the silver spear and placed it in front of him, trying to block the Bone Demon's attack. Clang! The 2 source-level divine weapons collided with each other, creating a powerful shockwave that bent the silver spear. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven's body shook violently as he retreated, spitting out blood. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was clearly no match for the Bone Demon and had been heavily injured in one blow. The bone demon's attacks continued, sweeping through the enemy like a storm. Meanwhile, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing charged at the other Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing working together to deal with an ordinary Lord of Heaven was far too easy. In just one blow, their opponent had been heavily injured. This Lord of Heaven howled, his face savage as his body erupted with dazzling light. He was actually trying to self-detonate again. However, self-detonation required some time. How could Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing give him that time? Xian Yanqing used the heavenly demon domain to tightly seal him, while Lu Ming used the heaven-breaking style to pierce through his forehead, killing him completely. On the other side, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven was no match for the bone demon at all. He was completely suppressed. The bones in his arms were broken, and he almost lost his grip on his spear. Annihilation, come and help me. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared, wanting to call the Lord of Heaven to help him. However, the Lord of Heaven did not even look back as he hurried away. He had finally broken out of the immeasurable demonic soul's encirclement. How could he let himself fall into danger again? Moreover, the bone demon was too strong. If he returned to save the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, he might very well die. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Our people will avenge you. The Lord of Heaven's voice rang out as he left without looking back. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven let out a desperate roar. He could only fight with his life on the line. However, there was a big gap between his strength and the bone demons. In addition, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming immediately came to help the bone demon. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven's fate was already sealed. He could not even perish together with the bone demon. After a few moves, the bone demon's golden spear pierced through his head. After killing the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, the bone demon reached out and grabbed the silver spear in his hand. Unfortunately, that guy ran away. The bone demon sighed and looked in the direction the Lord of Heaven had escaped. The other party had already broken out of the immeasurable demonic soul's encirclement. It was impossible to catch up to him. Lu Ming also felt that it was a pity. That was the strongest Lord of Heaven. If they could kill him, it would be a huge loss to the heavenly palace. Lu Ming, this silver spear. The bone demon stared at the silver spear in his hand and dragged out his words. How could Lu Ming not understand the bone demon's meaning? He smiled and said, "This time, it's all thanks to you that Shao Qing was able to obtain the immeasurable devil steel. We were able to kill so many experts of the heavenly palace. This source-grade divine weapon naturally belongs to you." Then I won't stand on ceremony. The bone demon laughed and said, "Lu Ming, can I use these 2 source-grade divine weapons to exchange for one of the heavenly court's divine weapons?" The soul fire in the bone demon's eyes flickered as he spoke. It was obvious that he was embarrassed. His 2 source-grade divine weapons were just ordinary source-grade divine weapons. They couldn't be compared to the heavenly court's divine weapons in Lu Ming's possession. That was a top-grade divine weapon. However, he really coveted the heavenly court's divine weapons in Lu Ming's possession. He could only thicken his skin and ask. Of course. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. He wasn't stupid. He knew the value of a heavenly court's divine weapon far exceeded 2 ordinary source-grade divine weapons. However, he didn't lose out by exchanging it with the bone demon. The bone demon was his follower. If the bone demon had a heavenly court's divine weapon, his strength would increase. Wouldn't that be more beneficial to him? In fact, even if the bone demon hadn't said anything, Huang Xiaolong wanted to give him a heavenly court's divine weapon so that he could unleash his full strength. The bone demon's words were exactly what Lu Ming wanted. Hearing Lu Ming's straightforward answer, the bone demon was overjoyed. His soul fire flickered as he said, Lu Ming, I didn't misjudge you. You're really loyal. Bone demon, which divine weapon do you want? Other than the war god's spear, you can choose anything else. Lu Ming said, I want that violet gold battle axe. It's simple and powerful in battle. The bone demon said. Lu Ming's mind moved and the violet gold battle axe appeared in his hand. He handed it to the bone demon without hesitation. The bone demon received it and couldn't bear to part with it. Then, he handed the golden and silver spear to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I'll enter your chaos ring first and refine the violet gold battle axe. You guys should leave quickly. That Lord of Heaven has escaped. The heavenly palace will know soon. The Bone Demon said. Chapter 47:33. Guo entered the primordial ring and began to refine the violet gold war battleaxe. Guo was only a peak almighty right now, so his origin energy was limited. After obtaining the source-grade weapon, he needed to refine it before he could use it. This was different from reciprocity experts. Reciprocity experts basically did not need to refine their source-grade weapons to unleash great power. This was also the reason why Lu Ming had lent the source-grade weapons to Heaven Destroyer's reciprocity experts and not to peak almighty experts. This was because almighty experts could not use the source-grade weapons immediately. They needed time to refine them before they could unleash some of their power, so lending them out was useless. Of course, if reciprocity experts took the time to refine the source-grade weapons, it would be easier for them to use them and their power would be greater. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left the boundless demonic abyss and the continent. Lu Ming, where are you going next? Xian Yanqing asked. Mid-Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubble, and the others are all cultivating in seclusion. Since the people of the Heavenly Palace can find you, I'm afraid they can find the others as well. I want to bring the others out. Lu Ming said. That's right. If the people of the Heavenly Palace find us, it'll be extremely dangerous. This time, it's all thanks to the arrangements left behind by Master Fei Huang. However, do you know where they are? Xian Yanqing asked. When the Origin Tribulation descended, Fei Huang once drew a map of all your seclusion locations and gave it to me. She was probably afraid of encountering a situation like this. Lu Ming said. He then took out the jade token that Fei Huang had given him and looked at it. The jade tablet recorded the specific locations where Dandan and the others were cultivating in seclusion during Autumn Moon. The closest place to here is the Sea of Yuanshin where Autumn Moon is. Let's go to the Sea of Yuanshin first and bring Chiu Autumn Moon out. Lu Ming said. Then the two of them turned into two streaks of light and left, heading towards the Sea of Yuanshin. The void of the universe ruins was also filled with danger. However, the two of them were more experienced and lucky. They did not encounter any danger along the way. However, the continents they passed by along the way surprised them quite a lot. Especially Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming had seen a lot of them before. Xian Yanqing. Most of the continents in the ruins of the universe were deathly still. Aside from some terrifying insects, there were no plants or other life forms on the continents. But now, plants had sprouted on many continents. Flowers were blooming, and plants were flourishing. Huge trees were spread across the continents, and they were lush and full of vitality. The continent was filled with exuberant energy and life essence. How was this still deathly still? It had clearly become a holy land for cultivation. Although these continent fragments hadn't given birth to living beings yet, it was only a matter of time before they did. The heaven and earth have really changed. The profound laws of the universe ruins have become orderly. Everywhere is filled with vitality. Everywhere can be a cultivation paradise. Xian Yanqing exclaimed. Yes, there are many places in the universe ruins. Although they are not of much help to the Divine Master Realm or above, they are very beneficial to the cultivation of those below the Divine Master Realm. The lower the cultivation, the greater the effect. I can imagine that after a long period of time, it's not impossible for some main-level divine medicines to be born. Lu Ming said. Is the entire universe going to usher in a golden age of cultivation and return to the primeval continent of the last era? Xian Yanqing exclaimed. It was very likely according to the current trend. So, we can't let the heavenly human race monopolize these infinite resources. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded solemnly. Indeed, the universe ruins had undergone a great change and would usher in an unprecedented era. If the Heaven Destroyer could survive this disaster, then occupy a part of the universe ruins and cultivate its descendants, it would become stronger and stronger in the future. It might be able to compete with the Heavenly Palace. We've arrived at the Sea of Yanshin. Suddenly, Lu Ming whispered with a hint of joy. They were about to see the autumn moon. You're so happy to see the autumn moon? Are you not happy to see me? Xian Yanqing glanced at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He quickly smiled and said, "How could that be? I don't know how happy I am to see you, Xiaoqing. When I knew that you might be in danger, the first person I thought of was you." Lu Ming said affectionately as he held Xian Yanqing's small hand. "Fool, I'm joking with you." Xian Yanqing burst into laughter. She was so charming that Lu Ming was mesmerized by her. "Xiaoqing, you're so beautiful. I can't get enough of you even if I look at you for the rest of my life." Lu Ming said. "Glib Tung, Ling Yue, Huang Ling, Mulins, and the others, is this how you captured their hearts?" Xian Yanqing said coldly. Lu Ming wished he could slap himself. Why did he have such a cheap mouth? "Xiaoqing, let's go pick up the autumn moon." Lu Ming quickly changed the topic and flew forward. In the void in front of them, there was an ocean floating. This ocean was very large, even larger than a fragment of a continent. The seawater was not ordinary seawater. It actually had 9 colors and was filled with dazzling multicolored light. It wasn't strange for an ocean to be floating in the universe ruins. There were many places with it, and it wasn't the first time Lu Ming had seen it. However, the seawater was actually 9 colors. This was definitely the first time he had seen it. The autumn moon's 9 orifices' sacred heart also contains 9 colors. Could it be that this sea of Yuanxin has something to do with the 9 orifices' sacred heart? Lu Ming pondered. Perhaps it was really possible. Otherwise, Fei Huang wouldn't have sent the autumn moon here. Xian Yanqing followed behind Lu Ming and the two of them flew into the Sea of Yuanxin. After flying into the Sea of Yuanxin, they realized that the Sea of Yuanxin was really big. It was vast and boundless. Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to the autumn moon. However, he realized that it couldn't be sent out at all. With such a big Sea of Yuanxin, how can we find the autumn moon if the news can't be sent out? Lu Ming frowned. Lu Ming, the people from the Heavenly Palace shouldn't have discovered this place yet. Let's split up and search. Xian Yanqing suggested. All right, let's split up and search. Once there's news, immediately send a message. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them flew in 2 different directions. They spread out their spiritual senses to search for the autumn moon. However, after searching for several hours, they didn't find anything. If the autumn moon is cultivating at the bottom of the sea, it's useless for me to search like this. Let's go into the sea and have a look. Lu Ming thought for a while. Then, with a plop, he dived into the sea. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt a powerful force in the sea hitting him. This force was really similar to the power of the 9 orifices' sacred heart of the autumn moon. However, although this force was strong, it wasn't difficult for Lu Ming to block it with his current cultivation. He had been searching in one direction in the sea. Chapter 4734. There were no living creatures in the Sea of Yuan Xing. Apart from the 9-colored seawater, there was nothing else. Lu Ming searched for 7 days in a row but found nothing. Let's go out and see if Xiaoqing has found anything. Lu Ming rushed out of the sea. Because of the strong impact in the sea, the voice transmission jade talisman could not be transmitted in the sea. Soon after coming to the sea, Lu Ming received a message from Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming immediately flew in the direction of Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming flew at full speed and soon found Xian Yanqing. "Xiaoqing, what did you find?" Lu Ming asked. "Let's go down and have a look." Xian Yanqing said. When the two entered the sea, Lu Ming's eyes immediately lit up. This was because the seawater here was different from the seawater he had explored before. There were many fish in the sea here. These fishes were also colorful, a riot of colors. Lu Ming looked carefully. There were 9 colors of these fish, which was similar to the sea. The point was that these fish were not living creatures, but made of energy. However, they were very similar to real living creatures. Their eyes were very smart. When they saw Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, they were not afraid. They swam around the two of them and looked at them curiously. Amazing! They are not living creatures, but they contain intelligence. Lu Ming sighed. There will be more and more of these fish as we move forward in this direction. Xian Yanqing said. Let's go and have a look. The two of them moved forward. Sure enough, the more colorful fish they moved forward, the more colorful fish there were. These fish were not aggressive at all. At most, they looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing curiously and swam away. The two of them kept moving forward. After a day, Lu Ming estimated that they were about to reach the central area of the Sea of Yuan Exin. At this time, the two of them made another discovery. They discovered that many plants had appeared in the seawater. These plants also had 9 different colors. At this point, the impact of the seawater was getting stronger and stronger. Just as the two of them were about to continue forward, the seawater in front of them suddenly began to ripple violently. It turned into a huge pillar of water that shot towards them. The two of them were shocked and quickly dodged. However, more and more water pillars appeared. In the end, they were densely packed together. Bang! Lu Ming was finally hit by a water pillar. The powerful force caused Lu Ming to continuously retreat. What a strong power! But there must be something strange about this place. Maybe the autumn moon is right in front of us. Break for me! Lu Ming took out the war god spear and used the heaven-breaking stone to stab at one of the water pillars. With a loud bang, the water pillar was directly pierced and exploded. Xian Yanqing also made a move. He took out his source-grade divine weapon and destroyed several water pillars in succession. The two of them no longer dodged. Instead, they worked together to break through the water column and continued forward. Suddenly, the water pillars all disappeared. However, the water was still flowing rapidly. In the end, it actually gathered into a figure. It was a figure made of 9 colored seawater. It could be clearly seen that it was a woman. She was very beautiful and seemed to be around 30 years old. She stretched out her hand and instantly, endless seawater surged towards Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing wanted to dodge, but they discovered that their bodies were frozen by the 9-colored seawater. At this moment, the two of them turned pale with fright. However, no matter how they resisted, it was useless. The difference was too great. The surrounding seawater turned into 2 huge hands and grabbed Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. However, it only grabbed them and did not attack them further. What a strong power! It's impossible for a divine master to have such power. This is definitely the power of the Origin Realm. However, under the Origin Tribulation, Origin Realm existences would have to seal themselves and not dare to come out. How can there be an Origin Realm expert here? Lu Ming's mind raced. He found it hard to believe. The other party doesn't seem to be an Origin Realm existence. It's not a living being, Xian Yanqing said. After all, she was an Origin Realm existence in her previous life, so she could see something. Don't enter this place. The figure condensed from seawater actually spoke. Lu Ming was delighted. Since the other party could speak, there was room for negotiation. Moreover, the other party did not seem to want to kill them. Otherwise, with their strength, they would have been finished long ago. Senior, we're here to look for someone. Have you seen a young woman called Autumn Moon? She came here before. Lu Ming shouted. What's your relationship with her? The figure condensed from seawater asked. Lu Ming glanced at Xian Yanqing. He's Autumn Moon's husband. Xian Yanqing pointed at Lu Ming. Oh, so it's you. Autumn Moon did mention that you're looking for her. After the figure condensed from seawater finished speaking, another figure condensed from seawater on the other side. Who else could it be but Autumn Moon? Yes, it's her. Lu Ming was overjoyed. You can leave. You can't see her now. She's receiving my inheritance. The figure condensed from seawater said. Huh. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were both stunned. Senior, you don't know. The people from the Heavenly Palace will probably find this place very soon. At that time, it will be unfavorable for Autumn Moon. If Autumn Moon continues to stay here, it will be very dangerous. Lu Ming called out. The Heavenly Palace? The figure condensed from seawater whispered. Then it asked, what kind of experts will the Heavenly Palace send here? As long as it's not above the Origin Realm, I can guarantee Autumn Moon's safety. Above the Origin Realm? How arrogant. This was Lu Ming's first reaction. Of course, it was only a thought that flashed through his mind. He did not dare to say it out loud. Senior, that won't happen. Now that the Origin Tribulation has descended, the existences of the Origin Realm have all sealed themselves. The strongest are peak divine masters. Lu Ming said. The origin tribulation has actually descended now? The sound of seawater condensing seemed to be very surprised. This surprised Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The person in front of them was definitely an existence of the origin realm or above. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. However, how could such a person not know about the origin tribulation? Was it not said that when the origin tribulation descended, no matter where in the entire universe, as long as one was at or above the origin realm, it would be difficult to avoid it? Senior, won't you be affected by the origin tribulation? Lu Ming asked. This was definitely a big matter. Now that the origin tribulation had been sealed, the strongest were divine masters. If the existences of the origin realm were not affected, would they not be able to sweep through the universe? I've already fallen. Naturally, I won't be affected by the origin tribulation. The figure condensed from seawater said. What? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were both shocked. The person in front of them had already fallen? Was the person speaking to them an imprint or brand left behind by him? Whatever. I'll tell you about me in detail. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave at ease. I'm the same as Autumn Moon. I once possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices. The figure condensed from seawater began to explain in detail. Chapter 47:35. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked when they heard what the figure said. Did this person once possess the sacred heart of 9 orifices? As far as they knew, there were only 2 people who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices since the beginning of the primitive universe. Before the mid-autumn moon, there was only one person. That person was a legend in the primitive universe. He had unparalleled talent, but he was a loner. He did not join any faction and cultivated alone. There were very few records of that person. They only knew that the person was at least at the origin realm in the end, but he suddenly disappeared and never appeared again. Therefore, there were not many records of the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the universe. Could the figure condensed from the sea be the legendary person? Or was this person from the previous era? However, as the person continued speaking, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing finally understood. It turned out that this person was really the one and only sacred heart of 9 orifices in the universe before the mid-autumn moon. Her name was Jianghu. It had to be said that Jianghu was really an unparalleled genius with rare talent. She had the sacred heart of 9 orifices. Without anyone to guide her, she groped alone, referring to the experiences of cultivators with similar sacred hearts of 7 orifices or 5 orifices to find her own path. Her cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, crushing her peers. She stayed away from disputes and cultivated alone. When her cultivation reached the divine master realm, she entered the ruins of the universe. She wanted to find the cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the ruins of the universe. She believed that there must have been someone who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the previous era. She hoped to find the cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices that was left behind from the previous era. Unfortunately, she spent countless years and still did not find the complete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices. However, she did find an incomplete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices. It allowed her to confirm that there were indeed people who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the previous era, and there were many of them. Some had even cultivated to the transcendent realm. In the end, Jianghu relied on the incomplete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices and her talent to cross the mountain of the origin realm and enter a new realm. Although this realm did not reach the transcendent realm, it was still far stronger than the origin realm. However, that realm was too difficult. There were layers upon layers of tribulations, and every step was filled with danger. Without any experience or guidance from predecessors, she finally encountered a huge problem. In the end, she wasn't able to pass through and died in this sea of Yuan heart. However, although she had fallen, the remnant imprint and the core of her power, the sacred heart of 9 orifices, had unintentionally merged with the sea of Yuan Exin. In other words, she was the sea of Yuan Exin. Just like that, countless years passed. She saw countless people come to the primordial heart sea and then leave. Until 800 or 900 years ago, the autumn moon came to this place. For countless years, the first 9 apertures Sacred Heart had come here. Jianghu was naturally overjoyed. Everything she had learned and comprehended could not be cut off just like that. Also, she wasn't willing to give up on the path that she hadn't taken yet. She needed someone to take it for her. Therefore, after a series of tests, she decided to pass on everything she had learned to Chiu Autumn Moon. So, Mid-Autumn Moon is now accepting seniors' inheritance? Lu Ming asked. Yes, but this path is very difficult. Without the experience of predecessors, she can only rely on herself. Therefore, she needs to be very careful. The mistakes that I have made in the past have to be avoided. There are many things to learn. The inheritance will take a long time. Jianghu said. How long will it take? Lu Ming asked. 8,000 years if it's short. It's hard to say if it's long. It depends on her comprehension ability. Jianghu said. Lu Ming sighed. It seemed that he couldn't take Mid-Autumn Moon away now. However, he was happy for Mid-Autumn Moon to have such an opportunity. He was also happy for Autumn Moon. Otherwise, Mid-Autumn Moon would be like Jianghu. Without anyone to guide her, she would have to rely on herself to comprehend. It was too difficult. Senior, if the Heavenly Palace finds this place, will it really be okay? Lu Ming asked again. He was still a little worried. Don't worry. Although I can never leave this place, I can still use part of my strength in this sea of elemental heart. Not to mention that it's the origin tribulation now. Even if it's the origin realm, I can still stop it and ensure Mid-Autumn Moon's safety. Jianghu said. Hearing Jianghu's words, Lu Ming was relieved. In fact, it was the best choice for Mid-Autumn Moon to stay here and accept the inheritance. Not only could she increase her strength, but she also had the protection of an unfathomable existence. There wouldn't be any danger. If she left with him, she would most likely face a fierce battle, which would be even more dangerous. Little Qing, let's go. Lu Ming turned his head and smiled at Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing nodded. The two turned and left. After the two left, the figure condensed by the sea also dissipated. The sea returned to its calm state. Soon, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left the sea of elemental heart. Lu Ming, where are we going next? Xian Yanqing asked. The closest place to this place should be the Wanhua ruins. Dandan should be there. Let's go find Dandan first. Lu Ming said. Then, the two of them went to Dandan's location. More than a month later, the two of them arrived at the Wanhua ruins. In the void ahead, there was a fragment of a continent floating. The two of them quickly approached and landed on the edge of the continent. Be careful. Don't go any further. This place is full of danger. Guillemot had flown out at some point and looked into the distance. He warned Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing nodded. In fact, they could also see it. The terrain here was extremely complicated. Mountains were stacked on top of each other. Some of these mountains looked like divine dragons, some like phoenixes, some like divine swords, some like spears. However, these mountains seemed to be connected to each other. They emitted a terrifying aura that gave people a strong sense of crisis. Lu Ming had a feeling that as soon as he set foot on these mountain peaks, he would encounter a terrifying attack. Formation. Lu Ming understood that there were terrifying arrays everywhere in this place. Senior Fei Huang said that this place is a relic left behind by a great formation force from the previous era. There are formations everywhere. I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to enter. Lu Ming said. Not only that, many of the formations here are natural. Although many of them are broken, they are still terrifying. Guillemot said. He had lived for a long time and was very good at formations. Let's send a message to Dandan. If we really can't find him, we will leave. This place is full of formations. Even if the Heavenly Palace comes here, they probably won't be able to catch Dandan. Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing. After saying that, Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to Dandan. Originally, Lu Ming didn't have any expectations. However, unexpectedly, the message was successful. Soon, Lu Ming received a reply from Dandan, asking them to wait for him here. He would be there soon. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing waited here for 3 days, but there was still no trace of Dandan. Chapter 4736. Dandan is still so unreliable. Lu Ming curled his lips. Dandan replied and asked them to wait for a while. A while was 3 days? Lu Ming, look. At this time, Xian Yanqing pointed to the front. Lu Ming looked up and found that there were suddenly rays of light in front of them, flashing from time to time. At the same time, it was accompanied by a series of screams. Enough, enough, I don't want to play anymore. This seat is in so much pain. Are you friends? Among the screams, Lu Ming and Gu Qing saw a tortoise running toward them. The tortoise stood upright, and the shell on its back became bigger. It stepped on the void and ran wildly, looking very wretched. Needless to say, if this tortoise was not Dandan, who else could it be? Behind Dandan, there was a string of creatures. No, to be precise, these were not creatures because they were not living beings, but were made of energy. They looked very small, only the size of a palm, and there were various types, such as birds, tigers, swords, and so on. At a glance, there were more than a dozen of them. Array spirits, these are all array spirits. The array formation here is really impressive, forming so many array spirits, Gu Mo exclaimed. Array spirits? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were also shocked. Generally, only extremely advanced array formations could give birth to array spirits after a long period of time and by chance. Lu Ming had encountered one before, but the probability was very small. There were more than a dozen of them here. More than a dozen array spirits chased after Dandan, making chirping sounds. From time to time, a ray of light burst out and bombarded Dandan, causing Dandan to somersault in the air. Soon, Dandan approached Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Gu Mo could no longer remain calm. They hastily retreated. Those were array spirits. They could activate the array formation to attack them at any time. This was no joke. You don't have to be afraid. They're all my friends. Ouch, stop hitting me. My butt. If you hit me again, I'll cut ties with you, Dandan roared. Needless to say, this was really effective. The dozen or so array spirits really stopped and curiously sized up Lu Ming and the others from a distance. They're also my friends. You guys can go back. I want to catch up with my friends, Dandan said to the formation spirits. More than a dozen array spirits yelled for a while, and then they all retreated. Dandan flew in front of Lu Ming and the others. Dandan, you're really something. You actually became friends with the array spirit, Lu Ming said with a smile. Don't you know who I am? I was born for Array Dao. Those array spirits naturally prostrated themselves before me when they saw me. Dandan transformed into a little Taoist priest with a smug face. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. This guy was bragging again. Who was the one who was beaten to the point of crying for his parents? This guy had become friends with those array spirits. He had most likely suffered a lot. However, Lu Ming was too lazy to expose him and give him some face. Dandan, what level of the Divine Master Realm is your cultivation? Lu Ming sized up Dandan. However, there was a mysterious force enveloping Dandan that concealed his aura. This should be the power of some array formation. 5th level Divine Master Realm. What about you? Don't tell me you've been suppressed by me. Dandan said proudly. A pair of small eyes stared at Lu Ming. There was an obvious flicker in his eyes. Please don't be higher than me, please don't be higher than me. Then he was disappointed. Lu Ming revealed a trace of his aura. 7th level Divine Master Realm. You're really a monster. My cultivation has skyrocketed over the years. I didn't expect that I still can't beat you. Dandan's face immediately darkened. However, the next moment he immediately jumped up. This was because Xian Yanqing had also revealed a trace of his aura. 9th level Divine Master Realm. You're all monsters. Dandan screamed. He was greatly shocked. Alright, Dandan, let's get back to the topic. Something big has happened. Immediately, Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened in the past few years. Dandan's face darkened. I didn't expect such a thing to happen in the primitive universe in less than 1,000 years. Lu Ming, let's go. I'll leave with you. I didn't cultivate for nothing all these years. I want to let those bastards of the heavenly human race have a taste of my power. Dandan said. Why don't you say goodbye to your friends? Lu Ming said. It's fine. I can inform them at any time. Dandan said and stepped out. Dandan, did you encounter any opportunities while cultivating in the myriad transformations ruins? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course, I'm not the same as before. Although my cultivation is only at the 5th level Divine Master realm, you might not be able to defeat me easily. If there's a chance to give you a surprise, Dandan returned to his usual appearance. With a smug face, he asked, Lu Ming, where are we going next? This place is relatively close to the 10,000 Spirits Palace. Let's go find Yue. Lu Ming said. After some time, they arrived at the 10,000 Spirits Palace. The 10,000 Spirits Palace was very strange. It was completely connected by countless ancient trees, forming a huge palace. However, it was already damaged. From afar, one could see that many places were damaged. This 10,000 Spirits Palace was also left behind from the previous era. Lu Ming first took out a sound transmission Jade Talisman and sent a sound transmission to Ling Yue. However, the news could not be spread. Let's go in and take a look. Lu Ming said and took the lead to fly towards the 10,000 Spirits Palace. The 10,000 Spirits Palace was extremely huge. Although it looked like a palace, its area was not smaller than a continent fragment. The group landed on a branch. Compared to the branch, they were like dust. Lu Ming and the others followed the branch and headed towards the depths of the 10,000 Spirits Palace. However, after walking for a while, they realized that they were always moving around the periphery and could not enter the depths of the 10,000 Spirits Palace. They continued forward, but the result was still the same. What's going on? Is there a formation here? Lu Ming frowned and looked at Dandan. There is indeed a formation, but this formation is extraordinary, Dandan said with a frown. What do you mean? Lu Ming said. Because the formation here is alive. Dandan said. A living formation? Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Bone Demon were all surprised. That's right. The formation here is completely formed by the surrounding ancient trees. Every ancient tree is a part of the formation. Moreover, these ancient trees can constantly move. When we left just now, these ancient trees were moving silently. Even we found it difficult to detect them. Dandan said. Dandan, do you have a way to break it? Lu Ming asked. Dandan's answer was very straightforward. Lu Ming was a little speechless and said sarcastically, Didn't you say that you were born for formations? This time, you obtained a great opportunity in the myriad transformation ruins. Why can't you break any of the formations you encounter?